And we are live on another Friday Night Live. A little bit later than normal. And there's Michael.
What's up?
What's happening?
Just a lot of preparing for video content creation.
What you working on?
Back to the podcast thing, changing the style a lot, but also Hannah Montana Linux.
Are you really? Are you doing a review on it?
I'm gonna do one, yeah.
Okay, so I got to ask you: did you actually get it installed, or are you doing a VirtualBox? Because I tried to write it with DD to a USB, and it wouldn't even write to it. Like I tried twice with DD, and it just acted like it said it finished, but then when I booted into it, it was the old ISO that was on there, or it was still in Tergos. So I don't know what happened with it.
I kind of cheated in a way.
That's not fair.
I'm gonna take it though. I'm okay with it.
Okay, all right.
So I burned it to a CD, and I put it on a really old laptop.
You burned it to a CD?
Because it was really difficult to get it to work.
How archaic is that?
Exactly. I don't even have a CD player in my desktop, so I had to get a laptop, burn it to a CD on that laptop, and then put it on a different laptop and make it actually install. So it also required an old laptop because I didn't want to put it on my main stuff anyway. So that's really what happened.
Well, I didn't want to put it on my main stuff anyway either, but
well,
I didn't even get around to doing the VirtualBox review yet.
Well, it was kind of a situation where you just admitted you're doing one. Oh,
I mean, I don't. Maybe I mean, no, I didn't. I didn't say that.
That is exclusive.
That is totally not what I said. Totally
exclusive. But I actually didn't have intention to install it on anything. I was just going to do the VirtualBox thing, and then Ryan said about it not working. I was like, "Oh, challenge accepted."
Right.
I'm already doing this one ridiculous challenge. I'll do another one.
Well, I was gonna show him up by installing it too, but I couldn't get it installed. What's going on, Simon?
Hey, I think I actually got things working.
Nice. Yeah. So Simon, tell everybody who you are, man.
Sorry?
Tell everybody who you are.
I'm Simon Quigley. I'm in the Destination Linux chat, and I do some stuff in Ubuntu. I do some stuff in Debian. I do some stuff in Alta Speed. A couple different things. So,
very nice.
I'm just generally around.
And there's Zeb.
Yeah, good evening, guys. Hopefully you can hear me.
Oh, yeah.
Indubitably.
Of course.
Of course, I have the sound of a dryer in the background, and that's making an excruciatingly loud noise.
There's always somebody. Always.
Yep.
As long as you're willing to admit it, it's fine. Like, let's not pretend it's not there.
No, let's not pretend. Seriously, no lie, nothing against you. There's always somebody that has something going on in the background. That's the way it is.
Yeah, it's not usually me, and then my dogs bark and make me look like a liar.
All right, so Michael, maybe this would be a good time to talk about the whole license thing, right? What do you think?
Would it be though?
Would it? I don't know. Maybe boring, but
some people might be interested. Some people might not. I mean, licensing is a polarizing topic, I suppose, to some people anyway.
Okay, so for Destination Linux, I was asked what license it's under, and I actually never done anything with a license for Destination Linux, which basically leaves it open. So I'm trying to consider what license to go with, what types are out there, and what's the best one to go with. So I guess a Creative Commons license, the SA, I guess, would be okay. Non-commercial? What do you think?
Well, that
Why
depends.
does it have to be licensed?
It doesn't have to be. Technically, it's automatically licensed just by releasing it. But it's licensed as a exclusive, as a restricted, all rights reserved. By automatically, it's all rights reserved unless you release something specifically.
But in the Linux world, people like it, you know, to have that free mantra with it. So
Yeah, it depends. Why does it have to be licensed? Not really. No, there's no reason. But in the sense of a few people would be like, well, what if I want to use your content in my stuff, in my podcast or whatever? They wouldn't know if they were allowed to do so. So they would be risking a potential issue. Whereas if you license it in some way that gives them that right, then they would have the opening to do so. The issue, though, is that when it comes to software, it's a lot more simple to license something, because you can say this license is required to use this software, and this is a license required to contribute or utilize our software in your content. It's easier to do that because you can have like a definitive difference. Whereas media, you don't necessarily need to use someone's content or have a license to do so, because software is copyrightable automatically. And content is copyrightable automatically, but also has a stipulation of fair use. So if you're using someone's content and you're using the fair use form, you don't need a license to allow you to do that. So it's even in making money in that sense too. So it's kind of like a situation where media licensing is a lot more complicated, even though it shouldn't be, because it's seemingly easier to do so. There's other legal ramifications depending on whether you have the right to do so or not.
And there's Alan and Colin.
Welcome to the show.
Colin, can you
Good
hear us?
evening.
He can't hear us yet.
Or can we hear him?
I don't know. Hopefully it won't be Mickey Mouse.
Yes, we have the chicken.
The great chicken. Or is it? Well, it's actually chicken, so we'll just go with that. Oh my gosh. So did I tell you did I tell you I needed the hotline for DHA and now off of Solus?
Oh dear.
Oh, can you hear me?
Colin,
There he is.
yeah, we can hear you.
Oh, cool.
So I'm actually now running Manjaro Gnome. Just saying.
Spicy Manjaro.
Well,
So what
you know,
with Manjaro?
well, I had minor issues with Solus that were absolutely driving me crazy. It wasn't, and it may not have anything to do with Solus, but it was to do with what my hardware had. So, like, I had the whole Wi-Fi suspend bug issue where it would disconnect all the time, coming out of suspend, and every so often, like last week when we were doing this Friday Night Live, it disconnected 2 or 3 times. So this will be a big test right now to see if the Wi-Fi actually stays connected the whole time. So that was a major downer. And just little things here and there, like Telegram would constantly reset where I'd have to get in a new code to every time I opened it, every time I rebooted, I would have to get a new code from Telegram to start, and all my settings were gone. If I changed the theme, it was gone. Just little things here and there. And so I decided, you know what? I'm going to try Manjaro KDE. And it was awesome. I installed it, and it was terrible. I mean, it was look, Manjaro KDE is great, but it was just giving me so many hassles. Zoom was not working. It would not recognize any mic that I had. I had tried 4 different mics. It would not recognize any mic whatsoever. No idea what was going on. And that was the major downfall. So what I did was I installed the GNOME desktop in there and just logged into it, figuring, well, that would be great. And it still didn't work. So it must have been picking up some type of setting, backend something still. So last night around this morning around 3:30 in the morning, I installed Manjaro Gnome.
And it's going well.
And everything seems to work perfect.
Yeah.
So
Have
there
you
you go.
heard of the Church of Neon?
I have heard of the Church of Neon. I was actually not a member of the Church of Neon, but I had actually had Neon installed for a month or two, and that's a pretty long time for me. And
isn't Neon all snapped now, or is it?
Do what?
Isn't Neon completely snapped now, or is that not? Is that still a work in progress?
No, I mean Neon isn't snap based, no, but they support snaps.
Oh, okay. I was under the assumption that now they just snapped all of it, and it would just be like that now, which it would actually make sense given the nature of snaps. But
They could. I mean, they totally could do that, and they've built the people who make Neon are also the people who are making the snap stack for KDE. So it's possible that there is going to be that in the future at some point, but they haven't really said that that's their plan or anything. There's like that's the plan. Should work. Like, what about upgrading? Yep, that should work. Yep. We don't know.
Well,
but
I think Zeb remembers the week that I tried to do so I had run KDE Neon for a couple months, and I recommended that to everybody. And I must have just been hitting it on like the stable version of it, because I think Zeb remembers the Friday night that I tried to do a live stream on a brand new install of KDE Neon, and I had so many issues, and the stream was going down, and the things were crashing, and it was just a mess, and I never went back. So
yeah, I always thought KDE Neon has always just been like a play distro in my mind. It's good for like developing KDE stuff like that, but it's really, I wouldn't install it on anything. Production.
Me neither. Except
someone runs it all the time in this here.
I would never use it on my main desktop, except for my main desktop and my laptop.
Yeah, never ever.
Yeah,
and everything, because the
I like
best.
Plasma, but I'm also on LXQt right now, so that's going pretty smoothly.
So what are you running? I mean, what's the base?
I'm running in Ubuntu 17.10, so I always take on the development release because I do a lot of Ubuntu development. So
even on your main machine?
Even on my main machine, and it's actually not broken for me in about 9 months, I'd say.
That's what I'm running now. Ubuntu 17.10 nightly build. That's what I'm on now.
Simon is a developer for the thing he's talking about.
That's okay. There's nothing wrong with that.
I saw for I don't know how to pronounce his name. I'm gonna call him Zeb. I saw you're running Peppermint OS back there, or at least for Peppermint OS.
Advertising for it, at least.
I think actually Peppermint's based on Ubuntu, so that like the LXD flavor, which I'm actually the release manager of.
Sweet.
So,
nice.
Yeah, we're hoping it's going to still be around. LXD is going to still be around for 1804.
It will be there.
We're sort of going to try to migrate off of LXQt after 1804 and sort of set it up so that 2004 can have an LTS LXQt. So,
yeah, that might cause us to rethink how we put, or how the developer puts Peppermint together, because we've all of us have had a look at LXQt, and unless it's going to improve incredibly, it doesn't hit all the buttons for us.
Well, it really does improve from release to release. Like, I think there's a new theming package in this new upcoming LXQt release. They split out the common package. They put the common package. They just split it out into the other packages. So I'm personally excited for LXQt 0.12. That's going to have a lot of new things. One thing that I'm working on is that right now that there's in the panel there's two clock apps. There's the world clock and the regular clock. One of them, I think the regular clock is like a basic clock app, and then there's like the world clock, which has the time zone features and everything. I've been personally doing some work upstream to see if we can like merge those so that we don't have two clock things. And so I think for LXQT 0.12 we're going to have a deprecation on it for the regular clock one. But regardless, to go back to the point you were saying before, I do think it's things will improve within the next couple releases, and before we do release LXQT as an LTS, we'll most likely have all this stuff figured out.
Good.
So I mean, I'm in contact with upstream if you have any specific concerns. If you guys see that there's something wrong with LXQT that is fixable to some degree, I can help upstream take care of that.
That's good to know, and I think the dev watches the stream back anyway, so he'll get that message and he'll be in touch, I'm sure.
Also, LXDE is going to be deprecated by the LXDE LXQt team at some point. So Ubuntu really, even if they wanted to keep it, it's eventually going to be deprecated.
Well, that was the initial plan. Actually, it was the initial plan for upstream to completely deprecate LXDE and then move to LXQT completely. But there's been some upstream work now on LXDE. Like for example, I don't know if it was 17.04 or this release. We're going to have a new release of LX panel. So there's still some upstream activity, but I don't personally see it go far, given that GTK2, well, there's GTK4 on the horizon, right? So
yeah, exactly. It's in also as soon as Wayland transitions, it's unless a lot of work is done in XCE, it's done. So it eventually is going to probably be forced out of the way, which I think it's a fine thing to do in a way, because the decision to rebuild your entire system on the GTK3 stack or GTK4 stack is just inherently problematic, and they notice that, because if you look at all the other DEs that are using that stack, they have to pretend to be GNOME, and that's a very bad infrastructure of building a platform. So they decided to take a better toolkit that's more flexible. I think that's a much better approach. Of course, they have to do a lot of work, but either way, it would be a lot of work. So eventually it's going to happen regardless. And I think that LXQt is going to be really good. And, it's already good for what it is or how long it's been around. So it's going to at least be feature compatible as LXDE is now, with a lot more flexibility and a lot more support for, like Wayland and things like that.
And so the thing with LXQT, well, for what it's worth, just to get out of the way, I say LXQt and LXQt interchangeably. It really doesn't matter to me. But LXQt 1.0 is the reason why we're waiting for 1.0 is 1.0 is going to be feature complete Wayland. That's why we continue having the 0. It'll be the 0.12 release in the next couple months, whenever that happens to be. Then 0.13, etc., until we get to the point where Wayland is feature complete enough that we can release as 1.0.
So how does that affect Peppermint? Because they're already a bit of a hybrid, aren't they, Peppermint? Because they use the Nemo file manager, they use the XFCE panel. Does that affect all that with the introduction? Yeah,
eventually would, but it also is like up in the air. They'd have to decide how much it affects them.
So with Peppermint, I'm curious to see if they base off of the regular Ubuntu releases or if they base off of the LTS. Because the plan for 18.04 is to release LXCE as the LTS Ubuntu to get that out of the way and make sure nothing breaks, and then release LXQT as a separately release like we're going to do in this release, but as a non-LTS.
I think they were used to be doing every 6 months, and then they switched to LTS versions. I think because they make a release once a year, and it would be weird for them to do once a year and support something that doesn't exist for a year, like doesn't have support for a year. So I would assume that they do LTS now.
At minimum, the plan is to...
It says on the website, Peppermint 8 is built on the LTS code base.
Okay.
There you go.
1604.
That makes sense. So they could stay with that one for a little while, regardless. But I'd say that eventually they're going to have to think about what they're doing. They're going to have to adjust it in some way. They can still keep Nemo because, finally Mint has made it where you don't require Cinnamon Desktop to use a file manager. Crazy idea. There's things that they could still do. As far as XFCE, using the XF panel would be weird in that situation because the LXQt panel is more flexible anyway than the LXDE panel, so there's really not a reason to do it. But since it'd be XF panel would be GTK3 at that point, that'd be pretty odd.
I don't think they would need to, would they? I think they'd put the XFC panel in there just to enhance the search feature on the menu. But now LXQt has that, don't they?
Yeah.
So
actually, so if I could, I'll just interject for a second. LXQt is not. You can swap out any components you want. So if Peppermint really wants to ship XFCE 4 panel, while it shouldn't break anything, there's no reason why they shouldn't be able to do in a technical sense. Like when you said before, LXQt panel is really turning out really nice, and I really think it has some promise in it. But I definitely think that as Peppermint as a derivative, they can do what they'd like with that. If they believe that XFCE4 panel works better, we'd certainly like to see. If there's something we can improve, just let us know. But if you want to use the XFCE4 panel, there should be no reason why you can't use that.
That would be interesting. The 4.14 would be GTK3, so it would require some extra dependencies, but it'd be interesting the fact that they can do that. That's just kind of like the power of Qt because of the whole flexibility and modularity.
Well, what offers the most customizable options, the XFCE panel or the LX panel?
The LXQt will probably at some point in the future, it'll be either more powerful than XFCE's version or at least on par, because the ability that it has is based on the Qt aspect and the framework, and there's so much flexibility and modularity there. You could do almost anything you want, whereas the LXDE panel is pretty old and antiquated due to the GTK2 dependencies. So the reason why people would use XFCE's panel instead of the LXDE panel is because the LXDE panel is very limited, whereas the LXQt panel is nowhere near dependent on that infrastructure, so they can have a much more featureful thing.
So
I think
I've actually been running LXQt for about the past year on this machine. On my main machine, I've been running like I said for about a year. And when I first started using the search function, it was like, oh, this is kind of nice, but now I can't live without it. So when I can, it's hard to go to an LXDE desktop because I can't live without the search function.
Yeah, I think one of the main reasons we went to XFCE was because of the Whisker menu.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah,
Whisker menu is fantastic.
Sense. Yeah, but you don't need it if you got the LXQt because you got the search function there, and you're probably better to keep it as vanilla as possible, and just add the Nemo file manager, which I like the Nemo file manager. I reckon it's great.
To be fair, PCman FM Qt is very good. Like I wasn't really a fan of PCman FM's original, the GTK version, because it was, in my opinion, it was kind of limited. But again, with the Qt framework, they've improved it a lot, and it's a lot more potential. So it's possible that they might just keep that too if they pay attention, if they play with it enough and really see how what it can offer. But the old GTK2 version was pretty, it was understandable why they would replace it.
And we've also been working on things like a Pabu control port to Qt, which I think is looking really, really promising.
I want that now. Give me.
Yeah, there's Pabu control Qt port on somewhere on the LXDE GitHub repositories as well. Right now, LXQt is under the LXDE GitHub domain, so you'll find it under there. Like I said, I've been using it, and it's a lot better than the GTK version because it just works so much better. Plus, it's built on Qt, so I mean, it's kind of hard to describe it, but I can sort of link it in like the Telegram channel if you guys want.
I would like to see it. Yeah.
Yeah, do it.
Well, here's my biggest question for the Qt version of Pavu Control. Is their output, do they have verbose logging output of any kind? Actually, not even verbose. Does it just have any zero at all?
Like, say that one more time? Or
Have you ever used Pavu Control in the terminal? You know, when you open an application, you put it in terminal, it gives you like, here's what's going on. Here's what's going on.
Oh.
When you make a change, here's what's going on. Pavu Control is like, no. Go away. You just run this name of this application. That is all we'll tell you. So if they're going to port it, please make it not do that. Like, just here's something that's actually useful.
Yeah,
That's like the only thing I hate about Pavu Control. It's so awful. It's like it does things like I like to use applications in the terminal so I can learn what they're doing and I can increase my knowledge on it or build something specifically. Like I wanted to build a loopback device, and Pavu Control is the best way to edit that loopback device. But in Pulse, you have to do that every single time you make the device, which is annoying. But if it was scriptable, I could do that in like 10 seconds. But finding out what Pavu Control is doing is impossible.
Oh, so you're saying like have like a verbose output of Pavu Control
of just what it's doing, like at all. Like any output at all would be fantastic. So just hey, like you're using this particular device number. That's better than zero. Where as in like it doesn't even output to a log file or anything. There's no output at all. It's like the most infuriating thing ever. Every time I open Pavu Control, I always go like, tell me what you're doing.
It's actually really interesting. I've never actually heard that. It sounds like something that could be done, actually.
It
sounds like something that could.
I mean, it should be already built into it, but for some reason, it's not. Like it's one of the things that I like to do. I wanted to build a loopback device so I could take one output and one input and combine them into a single input. And while I can do that and then go into Pavu, I can create those two things, then go into Pavu Control and set the features to the different devices. As soon as you reboot, Pulse Audio destroys those loopback devices because they're fake devices. They don't really even exist. So you have to recreate those devices and then redo the setting in Pavu Control. But because that means I can't automate the process because I have to go into the stupid GUI and do it every single time because the output doesn't tell me what I can do. And it's infuriating. So I made that loopback thing twice and then realized I'm not going to be able to do this automated. So just give up.
So you did the loopback device, but are you looking to just script it so that like on a reboot, it'll just automatically just set up again?
Yeah, just recreate the loopback device. Yeah, that's all. But I also need to make it where it also like can detect what device to use for each device. Like because you create a null like loopback device, you attach the monitor of your real device to this. You create another loopback device. Another device goes to the monitor. Then you create another loopback device, and then those two null devices go into this main null device, and then that null device becomes the input to what you put to other things. So that stuff right here, the monitor to thing, perfectly fine. These things to this thing, not possible because it can't remember of device that don't exist connect to another device that don't exist.
Okay, gotcha.
So if I had a script, I could just say, the order of the loopback creation. This is loopback 1, loopback 2, and loopback 3. And take 1 and 3 and combine them into 2, and it'd be fine. But it won't let me do that because the automation ID for each loopback is a different number. So if I could just do it in an order structure, it could just figure out what order it is and then put the script in. But you can't do that without knowing what Pavu is setting it in. Yeah.
If you actually want to integrate, if you could create like an issue on the GitHub tracker, and I can see what I can do about that, because that's
For sure.
Like
I tried to get
seems
the
like
control team to do it, and they just no.
So pulling this back down from the clouds, what are you actually achieving? What are these two loopback devices into one? What is it doing?
Bring it down to our level, Michael. Bring it down to our level.
Yeah. Why do you need those two things?
Okay, so I don't want to tell you the purpose, mainly because the structure and the thing I was doing is cool and sounds complicated. What I wanted to do is dumb and just for fun. So I wanted to take him null loopback monitor of my system's sound port, null loopback monitor of my microphone, and then a null empty loopback that's a combiner of these two, so that I can make the soundboard card become an input device, and this will become an input device. So this output becomes an input into this, and it shares the same input, because on most programs that use input devices only accept one at a time. So this way I can make one be two together, and in that way I could be annoying and play soundboards.
He just wants to be Mickey without hurting his voice.
No, I can do Mickey all the time without even caring. I don't need a soundboard for that. That's me.
So yeah, we can follow up a little bit. We can follow up after this, but I'd like to. I'm just curious what kind of syntax would be preferred with that, because I'm just wondering what numbers you need, what numbers, and what IDs you need, etc. Because here's the thing, I'm not very versed in Pulse Audio. I can get by, but I'm just curious what specific numbers or what specific IDs you need, so I can Google around a little bit and play with it myself.
Yeah, I can totally give you the layout of the infrastructure of the different loopbacks and stuff. I can't tell you now because I did it a year ago and I haven't touched it since because it failed me, and Pava Control just as soon as I get that roadblock, it was like this is a ender. So this is either you don't do this or you use Jack.
So there's got to be an easier way.
Yeah.
Just saying.
Theoretically, Jack is easier in this situation. Although the installing and setting up of Jack is not. So, yeah.
So there was a question in chat saying, "Where's Ryan?" And I reckon he's still dealing with all the hate mail from his Hannah Montana review.
Whoa.
Whoa, that's my phone.
That's Ryan.
That's Ryan.
Yeah, well, look, I don't know where he's at, but I know that me and him were both up till almost 4 in the morning, and he had to be up at. He had meetings starting at 9, because we were both working on each of our computers. So he's probably snoozing right now.
And I want to know how he got Hannah Montana installed, because I was going to have it on my monitor behind me for this episode, but I just could not get it to install.
No. Me and Alan are going to work on Chicken Linux. It's going to be great. It's going to be the new Hannah Montana Linux that nobody asked for.
What's it based off of?
Hannah Chicken Linux?
I'm thinking it's going to be based off of Ubuntu 16.04.
Probably is, yeah.
Yeah.
That's the target, yeah.
Can I be the theme guy? Anyways, he didn't get it installed. It was a VM that he was doing a review on it.
Ah, right, okay.
But I tried to actually put it to a USB. I couldn't get it. I couldn't get it on the
I did it with Rufus, but then the machine just wouldn't boot it. It says it wasn't a recognizable OS.
Yeah, well, I did it with DD, and it acted like I didn't. Twice I did it, and I booted off of it, and it still had the old operating system that was on the USB before I started. So somewhere along the line, something was going wrong.
The trick is Core 2 Duo. Just get a really old machine.
Yeah. Then the trick is what Michael did. What did you do, Mike?
I cheated. So
get this.
Core 2 Duo.
Yeah.
Oh.
It's got a CD-ROM slot, so I just did the old style of CDs.
Nice.
Burn it to a CD.
Nice.
I mean, come on, man. That is so cheating.
As soon as he said it didn't work on USB, I was like, it'll probably work on CD. Let's do it.
Yeah.
And then I was like, I don't want to put it on actual computers I care about. Let's play with this thing.
That's the way to do it.
Yeah, so it actually works. This thing is 10 years old. Actually, no, 11 years old. 11 years old. So
has it really been that long?
Oh no, Core 2 Duo was allowing for longer. That one itself is just 11
My
years.
goodness.
So that was a 2006. And actually, there's two of them. I think this one here and then this one here are the same model.
I like how you've got like a rack you can kind of just like point to like an index.
Yeah, this one is a Dell. This one's an HP. This one is a Dell. This one is a Gateway. This one is a Dell. This one's a Dell too. I think this one is a Toshiba. I think.
Nice.
I have
this one. No, I don't have none back there. Sorry.
This one is an HP Palm Pilot thingy. This one is a camcorder that is got like 360p terrible video. Anyway, this is
lovely.
In 64.
I have a smaller stack of laptops over here. I have just this Dell one, this Dell one, right?
Nice.
Nice.
It's like
It looks like a 2009.
this like stickerified like one right here, this MSI laptop, right? This MSI one with the little SUSE thing right there.
Oh, beautiful.
I still gotta get stickers made, man.
Teespring, right?
Yeah, I gotta rearrange the stickers on that laptop. I'm gonna see if we can do that.
Speaking of shilling stuff,
Wow, here we go.
The mug that for the Destination Linux that you happen to have one behind you. What company makes that?
Like who makes the actual, or who you buy it off of?
I don't know
who makes it.
Both.
Well, you get it off of Teespring, but I don't know who makes it.
Okay, that's all I'm saying. Teespring. Teespring has the stickers now. You can use stickers.
They did, but when I went to do the when I went to set it up, I was going to include the sticker, but they don't give you any options. Once they use the template of that logo.
Like, here's a sticker and nothing else.
Well, what they did was here's the sticker, and there's no way to move around the logo. So the logo was like bigger than the sticker, and it didn't look right, and it didn't look good. So I just I left it off of there. But I really did want stickers, but I got to find a place that actually you can make it look nice, because like I said, the mug looks okay, but the stickers did not on Teespring. So hey, did I say you can get them at teespring.com/Destination Linux Podcast? Just saying.
Really? Good to know.
But yeah, I do gotta find some place to do it. But somebody had mentioned Jupiter Broadcasting and where they get their stickers from, but they get their stickers from somewhere where you gotta
buy like a couple hundred.
Yeah, you gotta buy a couple hundred up front, and I don't have the money for that. So yeah, so I gotta find somewhere else to do it.
I'll get my safety scissors out.
Yeah. Well, it would have been awesome, because it would have been awesome had Teespring gave you the option to move the logo around on the sticker itself, but they didn't. So, oh well. I'm over it now.
Are you?
I'm over it now. I was pretty upset about it at the time, but I'm over it now.
There's a potential of the partnership. I mean, you could. I don't know if they even do this, but it's potentially like to contact the Unix sticker people and see if they'll do it.
I actually did email them. I emailed them and asked them how I go about that whole thing, and I haven't heard from them as of yet. So,
okay.
I only emailed them like a day or two ago. So,
either
that or they're just completely ignoring me. Because I've had that happen many times. I'll contact somebody either through Twitter or something, and they don't even answer me. It's like I'm not even there.
Yeah, that happens.
I tried to get a hold of Daniel Foray that way, and never even answered. Because I was going to try to have him on Destination Linux, but hey,
I'll
what are
hook
you
it
gonna
up.
do? Yeah.
So me and Daniel are we're like best buds.
Oh yeah.
Except for like the whole time I talked crap about their distro.
Yeah. You're tight.
Yep. But it's actually kind of funny because I used to there was a time me and him had a problem with each other in the sense of he wasn't doing anything wrong. It was how they were handling that time where they did the whole money thing, where you're taking money from the open source. You
mean the App Store?
No.
Or you mean the donation thing, or the amount they had when you go to download it?
No, the blog they made about how saying that you're hurting open source by downloading something for free.
Oh, okay.
You're taking advantage of the people.
Yeah, but that started from that number being on the
people were noticing. Annoyed by that. You can be annoyed by that number and go, well, I mean, that's kind of disingenuous, but they could put 0, so it's okay technically. That's not the issue. The issue is the fact that they insulted people for having the nerve to download it for free. So
was that their stance?
Do what?
Was that really their stance?
Yeah, it's all on their blog post. It's still on their blog post. You can go right now and look at it. It's still there. And Daniel, a lot of people said Cassidy wrote it, and they said that Daniel didn't, but he reviewed it and seemed to be okay with it, and it's still there.
And have you not seen their latest G+ post, where again he's saying if everybody who had downloaded Elementary had paid $1, they would have millions now to get developers and all the rest of it. And he's trying to pull on your heartstrings that you downloaded it for free and not giving them just $1.
Well, that's a different situation for me. As me and Daniel had a little bit of a fight, not a fight in the sense of yelling at each other, but in the sense of pointing out where their logic was flawed and him disagreeing on Reddit. And there was this huge post I made, here's where you're making a mistake. Here's where your claim is ridiculous. Source, put a bunch of sources on everything. Just so people didn't yell at me for not providing sources. And it kind of went away when they sort of apologized, kind of. I don't know. But I mean, I don't have a problem anymore because they recognize their mistake. But because the way they worded it was not necessarily their intention to be attacking the people who use it, but it was the sense of asking for money is fine. I mean, if I had a problem with asking for money for something, then every single time I promote my shirt or my Patreon, that makes me a massive hypocrite.
Pretty much.
Yeah. So as far as making money, that's different. Absolutely. If you say at $1, if everybody who downloaded it gave us $1, we'd have millions. Yeah. But not everybody who downloaded it continued to keep it and cared.
Right.
So
and I may have downloaded it 4 times just to just
yeah,
because.
they have no idea.
Just to review it or whatever,
yeah.
Or a new version or something. So it's in general, it's fine that they're making that statement because it would be technically true to say. If they say that you have an obligation to do so, that's a problem. And they didn't really call it an obligation, but they did say something ridiculous about it.
Yeah, well, I think Zeb's point is that now that they had made the original blog post and you kind of maybe get a feel for how they really feel about it, then that, this now latest Google Plus post may leave a different impression on people. So,
oh, that's true.
Separately, they might be completely different and okay, but combine the two and it may leave a different impression. So,
I also didn't like the way they did. I mean, there's also this issue where they kind of said that they did more than they did, and that kind of annoyed me at the time. But overall, I mean, we've me and him have discussions where it's a lot more reasonable and stuff. And it was just more like that particular situation was like they screwed up. Like their community management was not managed.
But it doesn't seem to have hurt them in any way. They still seem to be rolling on quite nicely.
Yeah. Does anybody know how they're making out with the App Store, where the donation thing?
On the user end, I can say it works, but that's just about it.
I'm not.
But I mean, I
I
guess I'm looking for like actual numbers of if it's successful or not.
You'll never get that. So
Yeah.
there's been a couple of people who have asked, and it's always sort of skirted over. So you never ever find out exactly how much they're going to make out of it.
I think Lunduk spoke with, I think it was Daniel Foray on the matter, and he kind of skimmed over it a little bit. There's things that they can't really tell you, I think.
And he came up with some BS about it's. I can probably tell you what Elementary has made, but why it's not down to me to tell you what each individual developer has made. So that's their own personal financial information that I can't tell.
You. Well, it would still be nice
in the percentage they give you.
Yeah, it would be nice to know if it's a success, though.
Well, they could say, "This is how much we've made. We take this amount of percentage." You know, simple math. Enjoy.
From what I can tell, the majority of apps in the App Store still aren't quite like on board with like the pay to download kind of thing. I'm pretty sure most of them still don't have the pay to use option.
The option.
Yeah. The last time I checked was about a month and a half ago, but at that point, most of them still weren't even enabled, I guess would be the word.
It's interesting. I wonder. I should look in to see how they get something on their store. Do they just put stuff that's open source, or does the developer have to agree to something?
Yeah, do they have to submit it somewhere or what?
Right.
From the only parts that I know that are a requirement was that it has to be all GTK and it has to follow a certain design guideline. There's like a
door.
There's a page on the there's a page on their developer portal.
I hope that's not accurate. I hope you're wrong. I'm not saying that you are. I just hope you're wrong because
I would love to be wrong too, but that's what I read.
Well, your application does not match our design.
Well, I guess that could be.
Oh, that might be for the curated apps.
Yeah,
they have two different
like the featured. That might be ridiculous, but at least slightly more understandable.
Not as bad.
Yeah, that's like 60% less bad. Still bad.
But.
Yeah, but if they're going for something specific or a specific look, then you want to have all the apps be in line. You don't want some crazy looking stupid app. If you're Elementary OS and everything looks beautiful, you surely don't want something looking stupid as a curated app.
Yeah, but then you go, well, it looks great, but it doesn't work that well. That's okay.
Well, okay, and that's a good point, but it still has to meet some kind. I would agree that it would have to meet some kind of criteria.
Isn't that the open shop motto?
The what?
Isn't that the open shop motto?
Yeah, exactly.
I'm assuming you wouldn't want a Hannah Montana calculator in the middle of.
Yes, exactly my point.
Whoa,
that's a step too far.
No, whoa.
A shot across the bow.
You want Hannah Montana calculator.
It has to be a thing. It just has to be a thing.
It is.
You know what? It's offensive that Hannah Montana Linux is not #1 on DistroWatch right now.
That's super offensive, right?
I'm just disappointed. I'm disappointed in you, DistroWatch. It's your fault.
One thing I did notice, though, is that you can download a Hannah Montana theme. So you could really turn any distro into Hannah Montana.
Yeah.
If you
any icon set, yes.
I will.
So wait, you said before, Alan, did you not say that the apps had to be GTK?
Yeah.
why did they have to be GTK? Theming breaks in GTK sometimes for releasing.
Well,
no,
I don't think
it's is because things and reasons.
Things and reasons, yes.
Is that not enough? I mean,
exactly.
It should be enough. It's enough for me.
We're at the pantheon of design.
So I'm like,
I think by the time it really gets to that point, like if there's a break in how theming works, or there's a break in how something like that works, I think by the time it gets down to that level, it's not necessarily an issue, because it's not like they're just like straight up using the first thing that pops into the git commits or anything like that. But I'm sure it's probably still a possibility. I mean, everything breaks at some point. And like I won't deny that building things with GTK is just asking for trouble, but
GNOME 3 never breaks. Darn it, I want to get somebody started.
Like a callback to something. That couldn't be a callback, because that wouldn't. No.
Your straight face lasted about 0.1 seconds.
I tried, man. I'm sorry I couldn't do it.
I could hear it in his voice before he finished the sentence.
Yeah, but see, GNOME never breaks for me. I don't know what your problem is.
oh,
exactly.
You couldn't even say that one without making a little smirk.
every developer's favorite line. It worked for me.
Yeah, exactly.
My favorite line.
Exactly.
My preference is, I haven't had this issue. Would you please help me troubleshoot it?
Oh.
Now, if they don't want to help, well, that's their fault.
I like that. Okay.
So I've had a lot of people tell me, like, this is broken, and then not willing to help me fix it. And I don't care if you think it's broken.
Yeah. Rocket League's broken.
Or why would they not want someone
Their servers are
to give their feedback, right?
I don't know.
I mean, I why would they even bring it up if they don't want to provide the feedback? Who knows?
Yeah.
It's
me. I'll sit there.
Tell me all kinds of things are broken with multiple projects that I've worked on, and then when I ask them to define what they say, they're like, I don't know. I can't. I don't remember what happened. They're like,
that's great. See, like I will sit there and I'll upload logs. I will post, outputs of whatever commands, because if it's broken, and especially if it affects me, wouldn't that kind of make sense to help provide a fix in that way? Might as well just not say anything if you're not gonna try.
I agree with that. I mean, there are certain situations where, both the developer side and the user side aren't in the most efficient ways of, fixing issues. Like, for example, Bugzilla is awful.
Is that a thing?
Yeah.
Do people use that still?
Yeah.
I've
one
never
of the things that uses the heck crap out of it is GNOME.
Really?
Yeah.
The only bug system they have is Bugzilla.
It's always been terrible every time I've ever tried to do anything with it.
I think Gentoo still uses it too.
I think Gentoo does, yeah. I think
Magia does too.
Wow.
So like GNOME uses it, but I also think like Red Hat uses it. Like Red Hat.
Yeah, I think so. I think so too. I think Red Hat does for like CentOS and stuff like that. I'm not sure if Fedora does, because I think they had their own at one point, but they might have transitioned back.
I know when I Google like bugs within like Fedora, I'll get sent to like a Red Hat Bugzilla portal. So
yeah, that's it.
It's pretty awful.
But Bugzilla is pretty much like the go-to for some reason. I think it's because it was like the first one that was reasonably useful, even though it wasn't that good. It's just everything else was terrible.
The Debian system, the Debian bug tracking system.
I hate the Debian bug tracking system. That is way worse. That makes Bugzilla like the most amazing thing ever made.
I haven't used Bugzilla extensively enough to be able to compare the two, but I know that the Debian bug tracking system, at least from what I've used, it, it's awful. It's not good.
It's infuriating. If people who have not used the Debian bug tracking system, let me explain.
Enlighten us.
Yeah.
It's
Explain,
emails.
Lucy.
It's an email mailing list structure, and you have to send an email in a specific syntax for them to care. They'll bounce it back if you don't get the syntax proper, and you don't know who is going to manage the issue that you sent, because half of the time they respond back with the mailing list account and not a developer, so you don't even know who you're talking to. Sometimes some of the developers will have their like signature at the bottom. You're like, oh, okay, thanks for telling me who you are, but they don't actually keep track of it in a public way like a Bugzilla. Like you can't go in and read these things. You have to find the mailing list, find the issue in that mailing list, and then go through it and like just hope that Google logged it somewhere or something. Like
I'm gonna cry. This is so bad.
It was created in like the 90s, like then when there wasn't anything. They're Debian, which means they're still in the 90s.
Right.
And even worse, they're Debian with XFCE.
Oh my.
Well, I mean that's too far.
Atlantis Morissette.
Mm-hmm. At least
as an Ubuntu guy, I sort of contribute to Debian just for the sake of being polite and putting things upstream. But Debian does go a little bit slower than Ubuntu, like 4 times slower. They have releases every 2 years. We have releases every 6 months.
Yeah, but also even just the releases is an issue. But even that, like, I don't mind the releases being an issue. I mind that when we try to get some application updated in SID, it still takes like 2 to 3 weeks for them to respond to you. Not to do it.
Sometimes it depends on the
request.
Like if you file a bug and you want something updated in SID, if you're a Debian developer and it's like an orphan package, so a package with no maintainer that just has the QA group as the maintainer, you can just do it.
Yeah, that would be great.
A lot of maintainers.
I have a package in Debian that is maintained by someone, and I can't update it myself. And no matter what, even if I make the dev files and say, here you go, they're like, no, we gotta make the dev files. Oh, okay.
That's nice.
Like, well, because we don't know if you're really, you've been able to, if you did it properly. Like, oh yeah, because I haven't been making software, this particular software, for almost 10 years. No, that's not true. That's definitely not a thing. Oh wait, you can go look at the website. It's true, but
well, you can't upload binary files. You have to upload the source packages to Debian.
Yeah, right. Because they want to build it. Because it's like, and when I first did it, I was like willing to deal with I wanted to give them the binary because it'd be faster, and the source code is available the entire time. And I pinged all of the maintainers to say, hey, could you update my stuff? And some distros are incredibly fast, and some are not. And Debian is one of the few that are not. So, like, there are some distros that will update within a couple hours, and there's someone that will update in a couple days. And a couple days is completely acceptable. Like, I'm not a problem. I don't have a problem with that at all. It's the ones that take a couple weeks to respond to you, and others that take a couple years to even mark it that they read it.
Oh.
There's some distros that do that. Like, it's and most of those distros I give up. I mean, in fact, Slackware is faster than some.
Well, I hate to say it, but I tried to file a bug for Solus Wi-Fi suspend issue, and I know, so don't tell me I'm wrong. I know I clicked on the Solus bug tracker thingy, but somehow it got posted on the Budgie bug tracker. And they closed it. Yeah. They closed it right away because it had nothing to do with Budgie. But
it's really easy. There's to end up in the wrong one. There's different 2 little buttons for categories on the top left of the page, and one is Budgie issues, and then the other one is everything else.
I don't know. I must have been half asleep or something, because I know that I could have swore I was doing it for Solus, but I guess I wasn't. Oh well.
Well, the fact that they don't just send it to the other Bugzilla, and they just or send it to whatever thing they use, the other bug tracker, they just kill it.
They just closed it.
That happened to me, yeah.
I understand from a developer side, but from a user side, that's stupid. Because they might not understand why you did that. They might not understand why you can't just say, "Hey, this is for the different bug tracker. We'll go ahead and like, help you out, hook it up."
Yeah.
Why not? But if they don't, and they have the issue of the user potentially thinking that they don't care what the user thinks. The user just leaves and abandons them, and because they don't want to deal with developers that are like that, things like that. And to be fair, it's also that some developers have situations where they have so many issues that they just, can't think about all of these things all at once, so they just kind of skip it. It's the fact that some of them have policies that are like purposefully, you don't meet this requirement to submit an issue, we don't have any intention to care. And I think that's a mistake. I think you should always care. You could, if you file a comment, like you say, "I'm closing it, this is why it's wrong. Here's a link to the one that you should use. Please, in the future, use it." You've solved the problem, and you've informed that person that you are paying attention to them and you would appreciate that they use this other thing, and you're being respectful about it. And it's very likely that the next time they'll go, "Oh, make sure I didn't use the wrong one," rather than, "I don't care, I'm not using Solus anymore."
Where did you file the bug, Rocco? Whereabouts? Oh.
Fabricate.
Yeah. Although
can you just copy and paste it?
Yeah.
I thought they did everything in Fabricator, don't they?
Yeah, they're both using Fabricator.
Yeah.
Just to be clear, I wasn't like bashing Solus. It's a bug tracking development overall thing, regardless of software. A lot of the time, they don't take in consideration what they could do that would make it better for everybody, even for themselves.
Yeah.
It becomes let's close the ticket as fast as possible thing.
Here's the thing: in Ubuntu, we have a lot of bugs that are open. I do the Ubuntu Weekly newsletter. I'm the person who publishes that, and we had on a section on there we have where we track what bugs are new, what bugs have not been confirmed yet, and what bugs are like critical bugs. And so the critical bugs stay around 410 something, and then the numbers every single week for the unconfirmed and the new bugs just hike up every single week. And a lot of the bugs, some of the bugs are there. They haven't been looked at since 2007. And, it's sad when you get to that magnitude of bugs where nobody has gone through and reviewed anything. And it's just so many bugs, and it doesn't even, you have flawed software because there's probably several bugs out there that have something that's easily fixable that I could upload tomorrow. And you can't do it because you don't know about it. So
well, I was trying to connect this headset to Ubuntu today, and actually it was yesterday. I filed a bug because it crashed. I think the Bluetooth filed a bug because it just won't connect for some reason, and that tends to be the case for a lot of Linux distros at the moment. Except Solus is the only one that it'll connect to. I don't know why. Must be the headset, maybe.
It's probably a driver issue.
Maybe
you have a newer driver, like a newer kernel driver with Solus, because I think they keep that updated as soon as possible. It could be that particular headset needs an up to date, like one of the latest kernels to make it work. Whereas I think that it's still 4.12 for the Ubuntu stack. They're going to go to 4.13 before it releases, I think. But right now, I think it's 4.12.
So what's crazy, you go to the Solus webpage and there's nowhere to log a bug.
It's at the bottom, I think.
Was it?
It should be at the footer at the bottom, I think, but I'm not sure.
Well, it says about download experience technologies. Then it lists social support. It says Dev Tracker. Is that the one?
I believe so. It's actually been a while since I've gone to the website.
Dev Tracker sounds like it could be more like a changelog thing, but it might also have that too.
Yeah, I'm not quite sure.
Probably have to go to the support.
Yeah.
The same issue with my Pulse Audio on Ubuntu, which just wouldn't work properly with my microphone. If I was playing stuff on YouTube or a game, it worked perfectly fine. You got to load Mumble or Discord and activate the mic, and it would just stuff up and it'd do this like screech, and I just couldn't get it working. I'd actually wipe Ubuntu, put on Debian, and now the microphone works with anything.
So wait, did you hear or did you say you had like a Pulse Audio? It was like a screeching sound, or what? Did you say
it was, and like when the mic kicked in, it would do a crackling sound on any audio as well.
Oh wow,
weird. And I tried 3 kernels, 5 message drivers, tried to update the Pulse because like version 11 just came out, couldn't get that working. So I even like tried different USB ports on the audio interface. That didn't work. I did have some issues with the audio interface with Windows, but that was because the previous motherboard I had wasn't supplying enough USB power. So I got a external powered hub, and that issue disappeared. And I'm on a different motherboard now anyway.
So what release of Ubuntu was that?
That was 1704 with Mate on it.
Okay. Let's see what the delta is here.
And I've got Debian 9.1 with Mate, and it works perfect on that.
Have you tried something that I do to diagnose would be to get the Pulse Audio from Debian and see. Well, let me see what the delta is from Debian, because if it's a delta which isn't critical, then I'd suggest installing the. I wouldn't usually suggest this. So, install the Delta or install the Debian version of Pulse Audio. On this, I wouldn't do that if I was diagnosing it, and then I'd see from there if it was an Ubuntu problem or a Debian problem. Because it sounds like if you install Debian and if it's working now, then that's an Ubuntu problem.
Because it didn't. I've tried Mint, Solaris, Ubuntu, and Debian, and the only one that didn't work correctly was Ubuntu.
It's interesting. Yeah, it's a little bit.
And another thing on Ubuntu is when you actually right-click to go open a file you've downloaded on Firefox, Firefox locks up, and that's only on Ubuntu as well.
Have you tried the microphone problem on 1604?
Oh, that too.
The 16, not 17, or?
Yeah, 1604. Because you said it worked in Mint, and Mint's based on 1604. So I'm curious if the 1604 proper will work too. So it might be a regression.
I haven't, but I could. Yeah, maybe.
If you would test it, I would like to know that, because it sounds like it could be a regression issue that they could narrow down the issue based on that.
Could I test it in? No. Oh, this is a mic here. If you can see it, it's a PreSonus mic with the PreSonus interface.
Okay. I'm curious to see if it would have support the 1604, and also like the Unity version and the Monte version.
Michael, I just linked.
That's the box there.
Some video.
Okay.
So it's even worked on my laptop, which is running Gallium. I tried it on that as well, and it worked perfect.
Interesting. I think it might be a 1704 regression.
Could I test it in 16 just on a live disk, or do I have to like reinstall?
You probably could test it on a live. Probably, if it works at all, it would work. It should work on live as well.
Another thing I'd test is maybe get like a 1610 install, even though it's not entirely supported anymore, so we can see if it's still an issue in 1610, then we know it regressed in 1610. If it's only an issue in 1704, then we know we can determine which specific upload did that.
I'll give it a go.
Cool.
Yeah. Well, that's one problem hopefully fixed with Ubuntu. Yeah. But yeah, the next one is my AMD graphics card is a R9 380, which has known issues in Windows on certain drivers with a megahertz bug, they call it, where it doesn't actually clock in at the right megahertz. So I found in Windows I had to skip like three drivers and then go to a stable driver. Coming over to Linux, Solaris didn't pick it up. Mint didn't work with it properly. Debian works in Mesa. Ubuntu worked great in Mesa. But when I installed in Ubuntu the AMD Pro driver, only one screen worked. So I've got a 27-inch screen and a 19-inch screen. The 19 inches on VGA. The primary one is on HDMI. The second screen just depowered. But when you actually took a screenshot in Ubuntu, it would actually pan across in the screenshot showing the whole thing.
That's easily fixed. Buy NVIDIA.
Oh, yeah. Sure, I'll just throw away my perfect working card and get another card.
Well, you say perfect working. It also doesn't work in Windows very well either.
Yeah, but that comes back to the drivers, not the actual hardware.
Well, I mean, they make the drivers themselves. The Windows drivers.
And this has been a reported thing for like 2-3 years.
Yeah.
Directly, like on the Windows side of things, there's threads all over the place, and it's not just my card. It's like the 285, which is basically my card, the 380, the 380X, the 390, and the 290X. So it's that family of chipsets on AMD that just doesn't work properly, even on Windows drivers.
Yeah, that sounds like an AMD issue that they're doing that they haven't finished fixing. And also,
but the funny thing is, like, they'll fix the driver, and then the next driver, that same bug will be back again, and everyone's like reporting it again, and it takes them like 4 drivers to get it working again.
Yeah, you've convinced me to stop looking into AMD. Thank you.
It might be fixed on the RX series and the Vega series, and like great if it is, but it still doesn't help anyone with an older card.
Well, that's one of the things I hated about AMD when I switched, because I used to be an AMD fan, and then I switched because my card became beyond legacy. So that means AMD could not care less. And their legacy ends at 5 years. At least it did then. I don't know if it does now, but their legacy ended at 5 years. NVIDIA started at 5 years. So like after 5 years, AMD didn't care at all about you. So
I've actually got an old NVIDIA card. It's a 660 GTX. So I was actually thinking of throwing that in and seeing how it works. I mean, I won't get the same frames, but at least I'll be able to get 60 frames at 1080, where at the moment I'm having to set all the games on low just to get 60 instead of high at like 75 to 90 frames.
Yeah, I got a 760 and it does 90 frames pretty solid.
Well, the good news is that the 1080s are now under 500 quid in the UK,
which is about $1,000 Australian. Yeah,
so
pretty much the UK to Australian, double it.
Yeah, exactly. It's expensive as.
Yeah, I have no idea what it is here, but I'm okay with just waiting anyway. I'll get
my card I bought.
1280 comes out.
It was $200 American at the time, the 380, $400 new in Australia. I actually managed to pick up a refurbished warranty card for the 380 for $200 Australian. And even if I was to replace it with a brand new NVIDIA, it'd probably be a 1060, which would be equivalent, which is like over 500 Australian at least. So, I mean, it's another $300 to fix a driver issue.
It is unfortunate that like AMD is that kind of ignoring of their older hardware. That's one of the things that annoyed me. I don't know if they still do it, but it sounds like they kind of do.
I'd love to use the Mesa drivers, but they just don't perform the same as the AMD Pro drivers.
Yeah, as far as gaming wise, they're not that extensive because the proprietary drivers from AMD have a little bit of a, secret sauce that is for gaming, essentially. So, like, if they just open source that code like they did the other stuff, then their drivers would be irrelevant, and the Radeon drivers would control everything. Which pretty much no one would install their proprietary versions.
Yeah, I don't know why they just don't ditch the proprietary drivers on Linux and just say, look, we're going to help the open source guys. Here's all the go for your life sort of thing.
Well, they did open source a ton, and they've done more so than NVIDIA has, but because NVIDIA doesn't do any. But at least NVIDIA makes their stuff work. So there's not a ton of people going, oh, we need the Nouveau drivers to be the best. We're like, this one actually works, so we're kind of happy with that. Whereas AMD is like, in this weird hybrid mix of like the open source Radeon don't work. Also, these don't really work either. It's like this weird mix of stuff. I don't know. I hope AMD gets, back on the ball and fixes everything.
I was actually thinking a way to fix it would be use the GTX card in my system, install Windows and hardware PCI pass-through, and then use the 380 in Windows.
Interesting.
Yeah, because then I could play a game through like VirtualBox or whatever in hardware PCI pass-through mode and get the proper performance through Linux.
Yeah. The PCI pass-through requires specific motherboard and everything support. So if you have all that, then that would be good.
I just updated to a motherboard that does support it, and I've got a Xeon that does support it. So like, I should be right.
Okay, cool. Those I've played with it, and it is fantastic. It just requires you to deal with a ton of technical setup, and also like using specific types of virtual machines. So that they have like the lowest latency possible. So like VirtualBox is not an option.
Yeah, I think they use QEMU or something.
QEMU, yeah. That's possible. That's one of them. KVM is also another one.
But that was my long-term plan, was like get everything working, because I've just swapped to Linux in the last 6 weeks. So I was like, I want everything working, and then when it was working, then I'll like integrate Windows into Linux. But I might have to do the integrate Linux faster than I wanted.
Yeah, maybe. It's not a bad thing to start. Like when you say you switched to Linux, when you say 6 weeks ago, are you saying that you switched like the first time you've switched, or it's just like you've switched more in depth this time?
Well, I've had Linux on my laptop for like probably 2 years, and I've done Debian servers over like 10 years. But they've always just been at the command line. This is the actual first time on my main daily driver gaming rig that I've totally swapped over.
Interesting. I don't know about that. So, I mean, I've only done like a basic testing of the pass-through stuff, and it does work. And, but I did it on Arch just to test. So
I think that's where Wendell did it on Level 1 Tech. He was like saying, to get it working, you have to do Arch.
Yeah. I mean, at the time I did it, it was probably about, I don't know, like a week or two after he did it.
Yeah.
And I was doing it to see like what other distros could do it. And it was basically because there was specific things that were needed support that only the Arch packages had. And it wasn't because, our other distros weren't interested in doing it. It's just they hadn't got to it yet. So I play with it as well on Arch. But in order to set it all up, you have to make this weird Franken thing of Arch. So I didn't want to continue using that just for this. So I stopped doing that. But I mostly game on Linux anyway.
Yeah. Well, most of the games I found that I regularly play work native in Linux anyway. There was only one game I was regularly playing, and that was not Ghost Recon, Rainbow Six. And it wasn't a big thing, like just dropping that one game, because a lot of us just went over to Insurgency again, which runs native.
Nice. So. That's awesome.
Yeah, I used to play Battlefield 1, and I just gave up. It was just a broken mess on PC. Like, even in Windows, there was so many issues. And on the Australian servers, we just had cheaters constantly. So it was like battling with cheaters, battling with their new 30 hertz / 60 hertz system. When Battlefield 4 finally got their like rubber banding fixed on the 60/60 servers and the 100 hertz servers. And then we just had campers like on the Aussie servers as well. Like, no one would actually push up in Conquest and Cap. So those three things was like, 2 months into Battlefield, we're just like, stuff it, let's go back to another game.
Yeah, that's something I kind of did, where I only use I only use Windows for one game. And I don't even use it that much. I haven't played it in like months. PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds. I haven't even touched it in like at least a month, maybe more. The only thing I've done is logged in, updated it. It took 30 minutes to update, and I just go, okay, screw it, I'm done. I didn't play it. So I guess that doesn't even count. I didn't even use it. But Rocket League is the best game.
We've been playing War Thunder, and that's good fun.
War Thunder's pretty good, yeah.
Yeah. So you should play that, because that's a good game. That's great. You just jump in a tank and shoot people.
Yeah.
It's pretty fun.
Yeah.
It's pretty fun.
Well, you got to cover base. So it's like Battlefield without the walking. You're always in a tank.
Yeah.
And it's free.
It's like domination, like deathmatch domination stuff, but not.
More like Conquest sort of thing.
Okay.
Capture the flag. You got some maps have one flag, some have three.
Yeah, but they do bases where you have to control the bases for a certain amount of time, and then.
Yeah, you can't just wander off. You've got to actually hold it and lock it in. It depends on the armor. Like, you actually have tiers in your tanks, and you have like little tanks, light tanks, and heavy tanks, tank destroyers, artillery vehicles, and then AA trucks. And then what some people do is they get an AA truck and just hoon to the base and cap it, and then they die, and then they come back with their slow big truck. Tank.
That's fun.
Yeah. So, like, you actually have 3 tanks in one round. So it's not just like you get one shot and you've got to wait a half an hour for the next round.
Well, that's not as bad.
Yeah. And then sometimes when you cap, you get like these points that come up and say you can hop in a plane. So, like, press a button, hop in a plane, and then you can like cruise around while you've put your tank in a really bad location.
The best kind of tank is the Merc in Rocket League.
I
mean, I can tell you why, but it doesn't matter. But is that the ones you're telling me about, or the ones that is it Stiz that I already talked to? Okay. These the reason they don't like the you probably were using the Roadhog was the Roadhog is slow in turns. and it's a lot better to learn in a faster turning car. Because like the speed wise, they're basically the same, but when you want to make a quick turn, you got to do a lot. You have more effort to do with the Roadhog or the Merc. When you do 50-50s, you're going to win more than likely with a Merc or a Roadhog. But if you can't get to it fast enough, you're not even going to get a chance to do a 50-50. So that's probably why they said it.
Somebody's saying in the chat everything went quiet. Hopefully not.
No, we just all stopped talking for about 2 seconds.
Well, Simon, you got your mic on mute. Why you do that, dude?
Yeah, I just don't have anything to say at the moment.
Oh, okay, all right. I was hoping you realized it.
Just the word efficiency.
Or he's probably got one of these keyboards.
Yeah, me too.
Mechanical keyboards.
I'm also working on this right here. So like,
yeah,
just yeah. I don't have anything to add to the discussion at the moment. I just
Gotcha.
some like just gotta do some verification or something real quick. So
Dig it. I don't know. I guess I went mute for a little bit. No idea why.
As I said, it was just a pregnant pause.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
I just want to show you guys something that you might find interesting. I'm actually building a SteamOS computer inside a PlayStation 4 case.
Nice.
I like it.
Yeah.
So it's got an ITX case, new SSD, Pico power supply, which runs off a laptop power brick. And I'll be getting PCI riser so I can put a small form factor graphics card in there. Yeah, all inside the PlayStation 4 case.
Nice.
So I have to ask
Awesome.
you, did you sacrifice a PS4 or did you get a case that didn't have anything in it?
Oh, no, that's a brand new PS4 case for $30 Australian.
Okay, so you just got the case. Okay. I was like, I wanted to know if you cannibalized it in order to make
No, that would be fun, but I wouldn't be caught dead with PlayStation in the house.
on the other hand, what the person who sold that to you probably do they have like this nice case for their new PS4 then?
No, they have to go caseless now.
It's an all air cool, open air test bench.
I'm saying, do they like have this like custom case that they made themselves and they're just putting it in there, or like are they just going without a case?
It's from a place in China that sells PlayStation components.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Just replacement parts. I said, screw it. Here, you can have this.
Yeah.
So what's wrong with PlayStation?
Everything.
What's good about it?
It's the problem with PlayStation, to be fair, is the PlayStation part and the Sony part.
So I suppose you have the same feeling about the Xbox.
So you're a Sony hater, is what you're saying.
Xbox is the Xbox part and the Microsoft part.
I'm not a Sony hater because I've actually got a Sony 4K camera. So
yeah, I don't really hate. I mean, I think Sony was stupid in the sense, like the way they handled the hack that they got, the multiple hacks that they got. They were stupid there. So
Can you jog your memories here? I don't remember because there was the one with that one movie about Kim Jong Un, and apparently
the interview
hacked them.
yeah, they were hacked because they were trying to stop it from being released, and because it was already released, like basically on the black web, that stuff, they were like, screw it, we'll just accept it and release it for free. So the way they handled that was fine. That's not my issue. The issue was PSN hack. The hack that happened, they had a hack of the PlayStation Network about 2 years ago. Might have been 3 years ago. I don't remember. But I don't remember exactly. But they had a hack, and basically everyone who was a part of the PSN had their email and passwords and a lot of identification stuff hacked and taken from the PSN network. So the reason why that was bad is because the passwords were stored in plain text, like an idiot.
Oh, wow.
They did not.
They did. Now, that would be bad. They didn't tell you for like 2 months that it even happened.
Oh, jeez.
So there was plain text passwords available for an amount of time that they had anyone had no idea that was going on. So then, to make it even worse, they announced it, and they announced that they fixed it, and 6 months later they're hacked again.
Oh,
jeez.
triple whammy.
Mm-hmm. So it was this kind of like, Sony, we kind of like the hardware you make, but your decisions are stupid.
I still don't see the problem here. What's the big?
Well, the big problem, honestly, the worst problem, like Sweet Tooth is only available on the PlayStation version of Rocket League, and that is a travesty.
What is Sweet Tooth?
Exactly.
What is Sweet Tooth?
What?
It's 3 sugars in your coffee.
What?
I don't understand. What is it?
Okay.
Am I behind the times here or what?
Well, actually, you're more out of the loop because the game that Sweet Tooth was created in was like 1993.
I was alive then.
Yeah, but you ever played a game called Twisted Metal?
Yeah, that's fair back
Yeah.
now.
Twisted Metal was a game that essentially you had a game that the premise of the game is vehicle combat, tournament-based vehicle combat. You had machines, you had rocket launchers, you had special powers, and you just kill everybody. But it's in a tournament structure, so that you try to get beyond like multiple levels and get to the final stage. Once you win, you meet the guy named Calypso. And Calypso offers you one wish of any kind, and he's got this magical power thing, and he grants you your wish. Now, the joke about the game is that no matter, like, almost everyone asks for something that's not specific enough, and he screws them over. Sweet Tooth is a psychopath who is a clown possessed by a demon who drives an ice cream van.
Oh no!
Who is a crazy person, and beyond just, he's normally just a crazy person. So he, every time he asks for something, it's so insane that the guy goes, "Really? Okay, here," and just gives it to him. The very first game, he asked for his best friend, and it was like, "What? Huh? Mr. Paper? A paper bag with a face drawn on it was his."
That's so bad.
That's all he asked for. So he's like the poster child character of the Twisted Metal franchise. So when Rocket League comes out with the Sony version, and by the way, PlayStation is exclusively the where you can play that game. So I'm pretty sure Sony owns the rights through their partnership with Single Track. And then when Rocket League comes out on PlayStation, like, you can play Sweet Tooth only on the PlayStation. And,
I got you.
Yeah, and it's incredibly irritating. Because, like, I want to play with Sweet Tooth. That's awesome. It's basically like the Merc, but a more awesome Merc. And I just want it because, I'm a huge fan of Twisted Metal. But Twisted Metal is like this crazy thing. And that's just like one of the characters where they're like psychotic things. Like, and oh, by the way, he's possessed. He's not just a clown that's possessed. He's possessed by his demon, so his head's on fire at all times.
Oh, that's wonderful.
Right.
Is this where they got that It movie idea from? Was like this Twisted Metal game.
Oh, there's. I mean, you can make actual like movies from this series because they have like so many different characters that are so crazy. Like they have and the best part is the first 2 games were made by Single Track. Then they sold the rights to this company called 989 Studios that ruined it. Everybody hated it.
Oh, sounds like Halo.
But it gets better. Everybody hated that company so much. I think the company went bankrupt because they ruined the game.
That's what happened with Flat Out 3.
But the best part is they sold the rights back to Single Track. So Single Track comes back out with a new version of Twisted Metal that makes the first two look like child's play, like just basic playground sandbox stuff.
That's
Whereas
nice.
this one's like, hey, you remember how this was crazy and insane? This one would blow your mind of how insane it is. They add new characters that are even crazier. Where they have this character who's like a hot chick, who is psychotically screwed up. Who she looks at her face and sees like these like moving worms and all this weird horrible things in her face. Because she's crazy.
That's what happens when you have drugs, people.
Yeah, I was gonna say, why would you play this?
Because the game is just fun. Like the mechanics of the game is awesome.
Oh yeah, sure, it's great.
But I mean, you this one you have to have a weird sense of humor to like this game. Like this game freaked me out. The other ones were awesome. Well, the first two were awesome. This one was creepy. So I didn't play the story mode. I played the multiplayer mode only because the story mode was disturbing. But like the first scene you see of these characters, they all mess you up in the sense like just me describing you like this one, she has like this problem of seeing her face and thinking she's a hideous monster. So in order to solve her problem, she takes a baby doll mask and hammers it into her face. Like, yeah, fun time.
That's uncomfortable.
It's nuts, but it's all the co-op stuff of that is fantastic. Like that is fun. Like Tanji, I think, said talk about the co-op thing is so fun because it's basically like it's like War Thunder, but like super crazy amounts of like superpowers and missiles and like homing missiles and. Every character has a certain super special that they can do, and it's fun.
Did it come out after Rise of the Triad and Carmageddon?
I don't know. Yeah. The very first version was really old. It was like 93, 92.
It really sounds like the era that they were experimenting with stuff on the PC. Like Rise of the Triad had all sorts of weird ideas. Carmageddon was like, we'll just throw all these different things into a car game. It sounds like that experimental phase up until 2000, and then after 2000, gaming was ruined.
95 was the first version.
Okay. Wow.
Yeah, it would have been around the same time as like Doom 1, Quake 1, that sort of stuff.
Yeah. Like it definitely was like an experimental thing. And Twisted Metal 2 was also awesome, and then it started getting bad. Like not bad in the sense of like bad gameplay. Like it was okay. It just started getting to the point of like.
Well, what I noticed on a lot of games is they were great from like the 90s to 2000, and then they started changing from 2000 to 2004, and then like 2005 onwards, they just started getting weaker and weaker. Like the games went from hardcore to softcore. Well, we're going to remove heaps of things, and at the same time, YouTube came in.
You're describing the Call of Duty-ification of games.
Well, I call it the casualization.
Right, which started. My point is that Call of Duty started that process like extensively. But then
they may have been the first game, but I just chalk it up to console was their first focus around that era instead of PC being their first focus. And when you focus on console, you've got to ruin games. You've got to take out things. You can't have as much things.
And to ruin games. I agree. But the first versions of Call of Duty were awesome. And then
I loved Call of Duty 1 and 2. And then at 4 is where it went bad.
I think 4 Modern Warfare was the last version where it was right before it broke it. Like 1, 2, 3, and 4. I think 3 was really good still, but it was you could see signs of it being weird. 4 was like you're pushing it, but it's still good. And then they started doing like World at War and all these other things that were like a release every year, and it was just awful.
Here's the thing: they're targeting towards if it's not on the leapfrog, you're doing it wrong. The game's going to be terrible. It's just
I wouldn't have probably had an issue if they're marketing for the casual people, but the problem is by marketing only for casual people, hardcore games don't exist anymore. It's like, when was the last time they introduced a hardcore base building RTS on the market anymore? It's just removed.
I can't answer that one. StarCraft 2.
Solitaire
like
works for me.
All the good RTSs back ages ago. Warcraft 2, Red Alert 2, the original Company Heroes. Even that didn't have base building though, as much as it should have. Like, there was a point that it was like they were really good, and then they just went down, or they just stopped doing it. It's like CNC. There was supposed to be a free to play version of CNC. Never got released. It just got cancelled.
Yeah, there's a lot of games that that I used to like. It was in the hardcore era, and I used to love them, and then they just died.
It's like Ghost Recon and Rainbow Six. Great games originally, just ruined now. Like, if
Rainbow
you look
Six
at the latest,
good.
No, I disagree. Sorry,
Vegas.
No,
Vegas 2. There's like, which one did you play?
I've played every single one, and I bought every single one.
But Vegas didn't try to make it like it wasn't casual. I mean, some of their maps were broken in the sense of spawn camping.
It was. Like, they changed it after Raven Shield. Raven Shield was the last decent Rainbow Six in my view, and there are other people that agree with me too.
Well, they're wrong too.
We can be wrong, but see, we might think you're wrong.
Well, I mean, objectively.
So it's point of view, I guess.
Objectively certain, I can just go bring the game out and show you, see, its existence, and it's better. And that proves absolutely nothing. But I can do it. But so I like Vegas because it was a I think it was the last hardcore version of the Rainbow Six series. Vegas 2 is terrible.
It wasn't hardcore. It got turned into a third-person shooter. You can't really have a hardcore game in a third-person shooter.
Vegas wasn't third-person. No, it wasn't.
It had this weird, like, third-person, first-person thing that it was changing.
Yeah, there's certain walls that if you grabbed it, it turns you third-person. That's true.
And co-op went from, on PC, from 8 players on Raven Shield to 4 on Vegas, and then to 2 on Vegas 2.
That's fair enough, yes. That was terrible.
And then in Siege,
I never played
there is no co-op. They've like totally removed the storyline in co-op. And it's just PvP. And they've designed Siege to be competitive with CS and other shooters now.
Yeah, that makes sense. I mean, CS is... are you saying CS is not hardcore at all?
I've never liked CS. Even, like, I played the old, like, 0.6 alpha. I've always disliked CS.
Why is that?
It's not my style of game. I didn't like Quake 3 either.
So you don't like deathmatch arena style stuff? No.
I loved Quake 1, Quake 2, UT99, but I hated Quake 3.
Wasn't Quake 3 the first arena version, though? Wasn't Quake 2 like more open than that?
No, Quake 2 had like the CDF mod that then became the official patch, and it was fairly open.
Okay. So you don't like rocket jumps?
No, I love rocket jumps and like telefragging. Telefragging was nice and cheap.
I don't even like CS though. I'm just curious.
Yeah.
I played CS for like 12 hours and it's like, nah, I'm good.
But I love Insurgency, and Insurgency uses.
No, I haven't played that before.
It's worth checking out. It was just recently on sale for like $1.50, and it's like honestly the best shooter in a long time on Steam. They're putting like 900 hours into the game. You
should also put 900 hours into Rocket League.
Yes, I agree.
In Australia that actually wants to communicate as a team in Rocket League and win. They all just like wander off and like kick the ball back to our own goalposts and stuff.
Okay, Rocket League is a weird beast in the sense when you first start playing, there's a weird problem of everybody's terrible, so it's weird. I mean, most people when they play it, I've seen it, enjoy the game, even when they're bad, because it's just it's a fun mechanic. But then, the more you play it, the better you get, and then you get out of these levels of people just being awful. and then it starts
Yeah.
getting better and better, and you start getting a more like reliable teammate. Typically, the best thing to do is like see if you can find one teammate that's decent on your level, and then just friend them and say, "Hey, could we play more so we can get out of this horrible level?"
Just stick to them like a microwaved banana.
What you don't want to do is you don't want to play with somebody that's really, really good, and then you look like you look like a loser the whole time you're playing. I mean, I don't know who would do something stupid like that, but
no, why would you do that?
It's ridiculous.
It's ridiculous that somebody would do that.
Allow someone to play
no, you wouldn't. You definitely wouldn't allow me to play. Like, no, you definitely wouldn't do that.
Let's completely ignore the fact that I play with everybody, and they just usually I actually do play with anybody who wants to, but I make them a requirement. You have to play at least a couple hours without me to fill the game at a level that's like everybody's on the same level. Because the second you play with me, you're going from like here's this level of like everybody, and then here's me up here, and everybody I play is up here too. So it's going to be a little chaotic for anybody who plays there.
Yeah, I find that with Battlefield and shooters.
Yeah, like when you play with someone who's got like a huge amount of hours, you're gonna be matching against people who have huge amount of hours, because the only way to make it fair for the people you're playing against. So,
well, I find Battlefield to be one of the best games if you're playing with people you know, and one of the worst games if you're not. I mean, it is very
much a like squad-based game and a clan-based game. Like with the right regular people playing on voice over IP, you can just roll a server.
Mm-hmm.
In fact, my clan has been booted off several servers for Battlefield because we kill the admins on the opposite side and they can't kill us. We actually, like, if they complain, we then go and hunt them down instead of capping. And they get upset and they kick us off their server.
That's nice. That's some solid leadership right there.
And then when they complain, after you kill them, you teabag them, and you get everyone on your team to teabag them.
That's
and they get really upset as well.
Coffee bag because that's delicious.
That's the only teabag I'm interested in.
Memes.
Zeb, when you get in Rocket League?
Memes.
I'm not.
Why not?
It just doesn't appeal to me at all.
It didn't appeal to me either.
But yeah, if I'm going to drive a car, I'm going to drive it properly. not go bouncing around walls and jumping off of pods in the middle of the floor and backflipping and knocking each other out of the way. And nah.
The car has guns on it, hasn't it?
There's no pods. There's no like. It's not an obstacle course or anything. And the game sounds stupid, looks stupid. Like the premise looks stupid. Like someone says, "Hey, it's car soccer." Like that's dumb. Do they call it soccer? So it is fairly understandable. People look at it and say it's dumb. When you play it, it's a completely different feeling. Like you will understand why it's good once you play it. In the sense, like the guy who made the game, the owner of Psionics said, "I can guarantee you will enjoy your time with this game, but convincing people to play this game is very hard. Like because we know it sounds dumb, because it sounded dumb to us, and then we played it, and when we made it, we made it on accident, and then we started playing it and loved it, and you're like, okay, now this is our game. We're gonna make it."
That's the same.
You know what else?
That's the same sort of thing with ETS2. Everyone's like, "Oh, that's a crap game. Why would you want to play that multi?" And it actually turns out it's really good fun.
Yeah, well, creepers were also made on accident, and nobody likes that. So that's my defense.
Yeah, but isn't that Minecraft just by default already? Isn't that a problem?
Pretty much, yeah. It's literally just burn your time. Just burn your time.
Yeah, I don't like Minecraft. I know I have the Rocco reason of not liking Minecraft.
What's the Rocco reason?
Bad
theming.
Oh, bad theming. Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Hey, so
Too
I used to
pixelated.
play Minecraft-
Too
I used to play
pixelated. Too many
Minecraft
boxes.
only for the command blocks. That's all I would play for, and then I realized actual code is more satisfying than command blocks.
That's why I actually do.
Yeah.
Of course, it's all Java, so it's not that exciting, but
Oh yeah, well it's Java.
Has anyone
Well,
played
you
that
can
new?
script it and do JavaScript. Sorry.
Has anyone played that new game that's like GTA/Minecraft? It was on Gaming
Oh.
on Linux.
I actually talked about it on one of my shows. You should.
Talk to us.
No good.
It is surprisingly fun.
No.
It's one of the only times like Minecraft looks horrible because it's like I don't care about building stuff that is going to explode. That the purpose is to break it and stuff like that. No. But if it's already built and the purpose is to make it explode and stuff, yeah, let's do it. Yeah. Like, yeah. So the GTA is fun. GTA and Minecraft has an appeal that's sort of fun, but for me, not so much. But Minecraft type games that remove the crafting part of it, I'm fun with. Like there's a first person shooter that's based on Minecraft, like the concept of Minecraft, and it's awesome.
yeah.
So
You
like
probably wouldn't like 7 Days to Die because it's got crafting in it.
yeah, I saw that. I was like, oh, that looks great, and then it showed me the crafting gameplay. I was like, so next.
I'm not into the crafting thing either. I'm sorry.
I if it requires me to build something in order to play the game, it's like, you are supposed to make the game, not me. So, like, I don't mind like games that require you to do extra stuff to get into the game. Like PUBG is like it requires you like spend 20 minutes to get loot and armor and stuff to play, to engage. But like getting the loot and the right kind of loot and finding it is also part of the game, so that kind of makes sense. But the thing is, I don't have to make the guns in the game, so I don't have to.
So if
find
they changed it and
diamonds
you actually
to
had to
then
like spend 15 minutes making your own gun, you wouldn't play it?
No, I would not. I would not.
Have
It's
you
like,
guys
gotta get
seen that?
6 pieces of diamond to make this sword? No.
Yeah, have you seen that new Fortnite Battle Royale game? It's supposed to be coming out off the UE 4-inch and that's free. And they're totally ripping off PUBG. And now PUBG's like, oh no, they're ripping off our game. And it's like, hang on, didn't you rip off like 5 other games anyway?
Yeah. How dare you rip off the game that we ripped off H1Z4 for?
I know, right?
Like, how dare you rip off, like, you're ripping off PUBG. Well, how dare you? Let's ignore the fact that PUBG ripped off H1Z1, which ripped off King of the Kill, which then even took the name King of the Kill for H1Z1. Look, but how dare you? What they should make a Minecraft PUBG.
Without building.
Yeah, just the voxel stuff.
Yeah.
Every time you shoot, every time you get hit, instead of just, falling down, you just explode. But I don't like. Oh, actually, Tangy, yeah, the Game of the Year version is much better. I forgot they had that because you get multiple DLCs with that. But anyway, the PUBG is fun, and the battle royale approach. I mean, they don't own that concept. Like that's one of the interesting.
They do because they're really popular, and they're
no, they own it as far as market share. They don't own
no. Well, that's what they think though.
Oh yeah, well they think they do. Yeah, you're right. But like the fact that it's battle royale style. Like you realize that's based on a book you didn't write, right? You know that, right? Like, so you didn't
Someone
create
should tell them that.
Someone asked him like if you're gonna make a Linux version. He's like, no, we're focusing on the one platform. And then a week later, Xbox version coming. Really?
Yeah, I've seen multiple threads on the PUBG thing, and it's like, oh, we don't have any interest for Linux, and it's like 22 pages long, another one 50 pages long, another one 15, and they're all like closed, and it's like, No.
That's
there's no
disappointing.
interest. Yeah, there's like at least 6 threads I've seen that are all being closed. It's like, well, obviously there is demand. Keep on fucking closing it.
Oh,
You don't see those threads over there. They're closed. You don't see those anymore. Okay.
Oh, closed threads don't count. Okay.
These are not the threads you're looking for.
You know what though? Speaking of threads and companies supporting Linux, I mean, I think I've mentioned it before, but all the stuff going on over at the Razer forums, they have their. Did you just make a Threadripper joke? That was good. That was so good.
I was like, I just wanted to put that in there. Speaking of threads and computer.
Oh, that was gold. I love it.
Yeah. So what about it?
Sorry for the sidetrack. Go ahead.
So a lot of good stuff going on over on the Razer forums. They have their own Linux
Subsection.
That one. They have one of those now. And they're working more closely on integrating Linux with their hardware, so it won't be as terribly supported as it has notably been in the past.
If only Logitech would do that, that would be great.
Wouldn't that be amazing?
But they're not going to, because they're Logitech.
What? That's ridiculous. Logitech cares about phones.
About nothing but themselves.
Well, actually,
talk about a place where there's 90 million threads of Linux, and oh, by the way, we're not going to do that. We're not going to support Linux.
Whoa.
Wouldn't it be better if we all just programmed in binary?
Just all program in assembly and we'll just be done. Just be done.
I don't like to program in binary. I like to speak it.
What are you doing?
011.
What am I doing? I was looking to see who made my microphone. I was like, is this Logitech? I'm not sure.
Oh, it was like you started like circling the microphone as you
Hello, how are you?
I was like, I can't tell if he's joking or not.
He's not, but now yes. Turns out it is a Logitech microphone, so there you go. My webcam is Logitech. My microphone is Logitech, so they do support Linux. You're welcome. I mean, accidentally probably, but still.
Yeah, it's just because it works out of the box, not because you can actually customize anything or like.
Yeah, it's because the kernel did it, but still.
Yeah.
But,
I can't switch any of my buttons around. It won't even recognize the thumb button most of the time.
Are you talking about your mouse?
Yeah, anything really. I mean, on the keyboard I have, it doesn't recognize any G keys or anything, so.
Yeah, I noticed that with the Logitech G19, you just don't have the software support for it, and the screen no longer works.
Now, I don't know what the kind of situation is, because I have a lot of Razer hardware. I mean, the mouse that I have right now is the Overkill, and I really hope that's how you pronounce that. Otherwise, it just sounds stupid. And I know there's like the something like that. They've got like the Razer driver stuff, packages to control chroma and hotkeys and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And I don't know if anyone's worked on getting something like that for Logitech. Is there just nothing in the winds?
Well, there's nothing from them. They just don't care. There is one, and I think we covered in one of the Destination Linux podcasts, some developer working on something to change your lighting and everything, but it's still in a really alpha stage. So
what's really cool is that a sub project, a third-party project that's on GitHub, is to make Razer keyboard and mice completely customizable and work inside of Linux. And
was
Razer
that the one mentioned on Ubuntu, that they were doing like a control panel interface for all the Razer stuff?
I don't know if they're doing. I was talking about something that's. I have to look it up now because
tray icons. They're doing tray icons for Ubuntu.
They are. They realized that decision is stupid. Good job, GNOME. Good job.
Is anyone here have any interest in jumping on the Purism Linux phone or Anyone interested?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, if it was available, I'd buy it.
If it was a real thing, yes.
If it was a real thing, it
sounds like a good idea, but it's too expensive.
I see it's
I would buy it.
It's backed by KDE and GNOME now, apparently. GNOME.
Yep.
It's backed by both of them now. Yeah.
Sure.
Problem is it's $750 Australian, so you might as well just get a normal Android phone and put on like Lineage or something.
Well, it's about your freedom, sir.
I know, and I'm all for like, a good freedom phone if it didn't cost an arm and a leg.
Yes, but can you really put a price on freedom here?
Well,
I could just not use a phone.
Fair enough, but what about an arm and a knee?
It is too expensive, man.
I would prefer to spend $700 on an open source phone than $1,000 on an Android phone, which you can't put open source on anyway.
But it's too expensive for the reason of that it's not even tested yet. It's not even perfected yet. No, Rob. The problem is that it doesn't exist. But that's what I'm saying. That's exactly what I'm saying.
It's
saying
a $700 concept.
Yeah. So why would you even do that? Yeah, it's a great idea. I'd love to have one myself, but
we're basically we're putting down the same argument we do for other things. It's the chicken or the egg problem. It's the catch-22. Whether you
I know a lot about this.
About the phone or about the chicken?
No,
or the
chicken and the egg.
The chicken and the egg. There's
chicken and the egg.
But
what came first, or?
Yeah.
Right.
His name is Chicken or Le Chicken in the Telegram group. That's why I say that.
So
how does
it's an issue? Like if we're not willing to buy the phone or give them the money to make the phone, but we still want someone to make the phone, and they can't justify the money to make that phone. Is it fair enough to us to complain about it not existing?
Yes. It is fair enough because you can't expect end users to pay up front for something that may or may not happen.
Well,
that's not a good.
Everyone did with Star Citizen. It hasn't happened yet, and everyone paid for it.
Yes,
but you can't expect it to happen.
There is a 20, like you can give a certain amount, $20 and 100 and 500 or whatever. What happens to that money? Do you have to pay the whole lot if they reach the 1.5 million, or how does that work?
Pay whatever tier you say that you'll pledge to, and the $20 thing, I'm pretty sure they give you a high five. And,
what's that mean?
It's also a virtual high five. But it's a pure freedom high five.
Right.
So if they get their $1.5 million, they take my $20. Is that how it works? Because that's part of the what? No. Okay. I didn't read.
They have decided that Kickstarter, they're not going to use that or anything else, and they're going to make their own.
That's what I thought. I looked at that page and I'm like, this is not a GoFundMe page. This is not a Kickstarter. This is their own page that they're just.
Didn't we have a discussion not that long ago about how that's a terrible thing?
Maybe. Anyway, so basically what you're saying is they take your money regardless if they hit the goal or not.
No, I'm saying we have no idea.
We can
assume that they'll take it regardless. Because
they don't. They did say that they don't take the money if they don't reach the 1.5 million.
Did they actually specify that?
Yes, I've seen it. I read it somewhere.
Okay.
Can't remember where. But
good.
I don't know.
You should probably put it on the campaign page.
Yeah, I don't know if it's the case, but I know that I haven't seen any charges. But
how much you give to them, Chicken? How much?
75.
Okay.
But they did say that when you give the funding, they do not take your money, and they will not take your money until the $1.5 million is reached.
Yep.
And if they don't reach it, they don't take your money. That's what I read.
So that sounds like a Kickstarter style, and it sounds like they're doing it their own way, so they don't pay a Kickstarter amount of money.
Right.
Mm.
So,
How much does Kickstarter get on something like that?
I think 5% per pledge.
It's not too bad.
I've seen other ones that have said 5% in the past as well.
Yeah. They basically take like a transaction fee, sort of.
Well, I had no problem with them doing their own page. I just found it funny because we were actually doing the podcast talking about it, and Ryan said, well, is it some? So I looked it up, and I'm like, this isn't anything, you know? Yeah, I'm like, I don't know. It doesn't say it's a GoFundMe page. It doesn't say Kickstarter.
It's not the first one to do it as their own page thing, but it is the first one to do it right. Because GNU PG did their own as well. But they made one of the most confusing things possible. They said, "Hey, we're doing a campaign." They tried to make their own, and they tried to combine Patreon with Kickstarter at the same thing. So it's like, wait, am I doing a subscription or is it a donation thing? You're like, well, you got to pick which version of the site that you want to use.
Why not both?
Yay! That's what they wanted you to do. But if you look at it,
That's great.
Their percentage of monthly was like 30% of what the donations were. So you were like, I'd rather just give it to you once. Because if you give me an option for once, people are much more willing to do that.
Have you guys seen the Jelly Pro? It's another one of these Kickstarter phones. And it apparently lasts 3 days with a 2.8-inch screen.
No, thank you.
Wow.
Absolutely no, thank you.
And it's only $75 American.
Yeah, but if I cared about a phone that lasted that long, I would go get one of those flip phones that like cost also $20 and then like last for 20 days and whatever.
Yeah, well, actually bringing back the old Nokia phones, and they used to last like a week on a charge.
Yeah, I had a Singular wireless phone that was made by, I don't remember, but I don't think they exist anymore. Oh no, yeah, Sony Ericsson. That's what it was.
Oh yeah, those around the old Nokia era.
Yeah, it lasted 2 weeks. So
Wow.
now we're at the 3-day level. Yeah.
Ouch.
Yeah.
Speaking of LineageOS, when you install LineageOS, do you need to have a rooted phone or not? Does anybody know?
Yeah, you do.
Pretty sure you do. Yeah.
You still do,
need
do
to
you?
root the phone before any like extra ROM goes on it.
Yeah.
Okay.
In order to flash the ROM, you need to root it first.
So what's the security on that? Because I used to have a rooted Galaxy S2. I've now got an S5. But is it really bad for security to have a rooted phone? What's the big deal there?
Well, I don't think it matters because you're about to put on the new OS anyway, so then it'll be secure again.
They have extra stuff like. I don't think Lineage is automatically rooted, like you're required to use it in a rooted state. I think you can have it like non-rooted. It just doesn't have any of the extra crap. And you can also root it again, and it's a lot easier to root that one.
Right.
I don't know. I don't think they require you to be always rooted. Because I think you have to root it in order to...
You don't want to always be rooted, no.
You need to be rooted in reality, but not in your phone. But I think Lineage is pretty cool. I'm glad that Cyanogen didn't die forever, but...
Yeah, I'm thinking about doing my phone. It's just about dying.
I mean, to be fair, if you think about it, even if you didn't root an Android phone, you already got a lot of other crap to deal with.
I think the closest thing I've ever done to messing with ROMs or anything, or like any sort of OS upgrade, stuff like that, was upgrading from Windows 8 Mobile to Windows 10. So pretty much nothing. Yeah.
I'm glad
It's
Windows
not fun.
phones died.
I think it still is, doesn't it? I thought it did.
It does, yeah. There's like a extended EOL period right now where it's supported. But
I think it's also fantastic when Nokia's like, hey, guess what? Android phones now.
Yeah.
And the funny thing is, they only went, oh, we're going to do Android. A couple of years ago, they got bought out by Microsoft. Then they sold to another company. First thing that other company does is like, oh, we're going to ditch the Windows software. We're going to make an Android phone and then market it in several models. And then like a year later, they're like, here's 3 new Nokia phones. By the way, it's Android. It's like once Microsoft got their hands off it, it finally went Android, which is what people have wanted with Nokia for like frigging years.
Wasn't there like a short period where Microsoft was doing something with Android software? They were like packing all of the Microsoft crap on top of an Android phone, and it was pretty much like they were putting their launcher on it, all the Microsoft apps, Skype, everything. So it was Android, but with all of the Microsoft stuff.
I don't know.
It was awful. It was so bad.
I don't think I've ever tried that. I never heard of that one. I wouldn't be surprised because
it's. I think it's.
They make crazy.
It wasn't fun.
Yeah, Colin. If you read chat, according to Switch to Linux, you don't need to root your phone.
You don't.
Well,
No,
you need
not
to root
according
it.
to.
You need to root it in order to flash it. You don't need to have Lineage rooted.
Oh, right.
You need to. You need to root it to flash.
You need to root your current phone in order to flash to Lineage on it. But once you flash Lineage on it, Lineage does not need to be rooted in order to use it.
Right.
So you can have you have a phone that is not rooted. You root it, put on Lineage, no longer rooted, unless you want to.
I'm assuming you'd be using Odin for that, which is what you normally use, isn't it? It'd be Odin.
It depends on your phone. I think on the Samsungs it is Odin. It depends on the phone, because like certain phones have specific routers.
Okay.
Sometimes you have a roto router.
Oh no!
I couldn't help myself. I'm sorry.
But that's at least 4 times this stream.
That's so good.
What, puns?
Mm-hmm.
It happens. It's just natural. It just happens. You just gotta
change it to pun digital.
Pun digital.
I guess you could call me the Punisher.
Ah, yes.
Please stop.
Oh jeez.
We need Rocco back to ban you.
Well, this is why I'm taking my opportunity.
Yeah, he's not here to take you to task. Yeah. And just as I was about to ask him, he's a founder of Distro Hoppers Anonymous, but he's not hopping. Is he cured?
No, he's just changed. He said.
Yeah, he just changed.
He just changed.
Yeah, but that's once.
I'm downloading Neon as we speak.
He changed. I mean, how often do you have to hop in order to be a hopper, right?
At least twice a week.
Oh, okay. He's not doing that.
No, exactly. He hasn't even done it twice a month.
Well, in that case,
he needs to resign.
I haven't been one in years, so I can't join. Although, if you join and you tell people who you are, you've already broken.
It's not anonymous anymore. Yeah.
Yeah.
I've changed 4 times in the last 2 days.
You definitely qualify.
Yeah. What did you try?
Well, I tried Ubuntu Mate 17.10 beta 1. I'm on at the moment Peppermint 8 as well, because I wanted to know how that ran on the NUC, and I've tried Ubuntu vanilla now twice, because I thought I had a problem with the Bluetooth, so I thought I would reinstall, because I did a few commands that might have messed a few things up. So I've done that again. So,
you should install that. Linux. I hear it's good.
Which one?
That Hannah
Montana?
Yeah. Hannah Montana.
It's going to be #1 on DistroWatch.
It's a party USB.
Well, there should
Brought
be
us
enough of
back
us on
just in
here to do
time.
it. And so, what was the fourth one, Colin?
I think it was Ubuntu twice. Oh no, actually, Linux Mint as well. And the reason, no, well,
I see you, Simon.
There seems to be a big problem with graphics at the moment with simple screen recorder. There's a lot of flickering in a lot of distros happening, and I don't know why. Can't solve it.
I can solve it for you. OBS.
What screen recording?
OBS.
Just OBS. All right,
Yeah,
I'll try
join
that.
the OBS club.
Simple screen recorder before OBS came to Linux. Simple screen recorder was by far the best, and I thought it was fine. And then I noticed something weird. Like the colors were weird. Like not terrible, but just slightly off. And then I started like peeking around. It's like it's recording in a really weird state of FFmpeg. Like, it's not optimal. It might be now. I haven't tried it in a while, but
No, it's still weird.
Okay, it's still weird. It was the best. And then OBS comes out, and now OBS is more difficult to use, but it's awesome. Like once you figure out how to use it, look at the tutorials. Right. There's tons of them. Like OBS is perfect. It records it perfectly. You can do layers and stuff. Like it is fantastic.
But if all you do is install it and record your screen without doing any of the fancy stuff, OBS is really, really easy.
It requires you to create a scene and create sources in that scene. Like that's the only like barrier that is required. And like if you just look at like one tutorial, it takes like 5 minutes to figure out, like to watch the tutorial and understand how it all works. Like it's super. And
if all you're wanting to do is show your desktop, then you just add your screen thing to the scene, and that's it, done.
Yeah, it's pretty easy. The only issue is that you also have to do, if you want to record audio in the thing, you have to make sure that your devices are being detected by it and stuff like that. So it's simple if all you want is recording your desktop and then do everything else separately. When you start adding extra features and extra layers, it does get more complicated. So I just tell people to like watch a video in general to see how it's done.
Yeah, as you say. Sorry, go on, Colin.
Yeah, I just thought it looked like a bit of an overkill to use OBS just to do simple screen recording.
It's actually not.
Ironically. Okay, I'll give it a go.
It appears as it is because it's so powerful. And then if you only want to record the screen and no audio, then it's just add one source. The scene automatically is there. The profile's already there. The settings are already there. And it just detects whatever your current default setup is. And then you just add your desktop to a source, and that's it.
I remember.
No, I had two problems. I had audio and the flickering. The audio, I was getting the Mickey Mouse as well. So now, so I know what you guys were putting up with.
You can actually disable the audio in OBS as an option.
Yeah. So it's like
you can actually have your microphone audio on, but your desktop audio off.
Yeah, you can do all kinds of stuff. OBS is great, but like default it's pretty easy for default. It's just the interface is kind of like, it looks a little daunting because it requires like certain settings and stuff to get used to it. But other than that, it's awesome. Like when you compare the two, OBS wins by default, like just by far. And also everything, it beats everything.
Even
I could never get simple screen recorder to broadcast to YouTube anyway. No matter how many tutorials I read, it just didn't work for me.
Yeah, exactly. And OBS is like, get a key, say YouTube, say stream, you're done.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. On Windows, I was even recommending people go OBS because they were using XSplit, and they were like getting either a game or a piece of hardware, and often the capture card would come with XSplit, but it would only be like 2 months or 1 month.
Yeah.
And I was just like, throw OBS on, like give this a go. It's free, it's open source, it works. And 99% of the time they would swap over, and they were like, why didn't I just use this in the beginning? And I was like, I did recommend this. I actually recommended against XSplit, and you went ahead anyway, and now it's awesome.
So well, the first time I tried OBS, it was it's pretty daunting when you open it up to say, well, no, okay, well now what do I do? But Michael is right. You watch a tutorial just to set up the minimal of what you need, and it's so once you do it, you know you're not gonna forget it. So it's just simple to set up than no matter what distro you go to.
Yeah.
I've actually installed TeamViewer on a few people's computers and actually TeamViewed in and stepped them through as a tutorial how to set it up live so they can see it. And once they actually see how easy it is to add like text and the webcam overlay and the game and everything, they're like, oh, that wasn't as bad as I thought it was.
That might be a good tutorial for Tux Digital.
Okay, I can do that.
I'm just saying. Did I say that out loud?
The funny thing is, like, I've taught someone how to do it, and then they're like, oh, I'm going to TeamView in to my friend, and I'll teach him how to do it. And, like, so now I'm hearing about other people teaching everyone else how to use OBS through TeamViewer.
Nice.
Challenge accepted.
There you go.
All right.
Has anyone here used, I think it's called Green Recorder, and I think one of the points of it is that it's supposed to get Wayland.
Works well in Wayland, actually. I've tried it on Revenge OS.
Awesome.
I don't think it had audio, though, I'm pretty sure. I'm not sure if it had. I can't.
It's like, you know.
I don't think it. I'm pretty sure it didn't have. It did record really nicely, though. I must say, it was good picture, so no problem there.
Has anyone used Ocean Audio to record audio?
Awesome. Ocean Audio is fantastic.
Yeah.
What is Ocean Audio?
Audacity, but good.
Audacity
Simple
on steroids?
Audacity. No, it's more simplified, I think.
It's simpler. It actually looks good, and it has nice noise cancellation, noise reduction. It's got good analyzer system. It's got some filter structures you can do. You can do gain raising. You can control like different bands of the audio. Like it does a lot of effects and stuff that you can improve the audio quality. It's like if you record it badly, you can increase the audio. Like even if you record like on a phone, you get one of those like 3GP files. It'll support 3GP and then actually like export it easily to MP3 and have it and improve the audio. Like you can take out the static noise that those crappy files make. Like it's fantastic.
Does it support VSTs?
I don't know. Probably, but I don't know.
Yeah, I think that's the only leg up Audacity would have is it's got VST support.
I mean, it probably does. I haven't checked it though. But it has metadata built in stuff too. So I like that. But
I've actually been recommending people grab OpenShot and Ocean Audio lately when they're just getting into it. It's like, have a go at these two programs. It might not be the best, but at least you'll get the concept of like recording video and audio for like YouTube stuff usually. And then they're like, oh yeah, I've got the hang of it. I might go get Premiere or go get like something else.
I need to look into Lightworks. That's what I'm gonna look into. Because I'm gonna
look into that.
Yeah, I like Kdenlive, but
has anyone played with that DaVinci Resolve on Linux?
No,
I have not. No,
I had a principal.
I've never had good experiences with Blackmagic, and I had a go at the Windows version, and it just didn't work with any of the file formats. So I tried my phone, it didn't work the video on the phone. I tried my photo camera, it didn't work with the video I recorded on that. Then I tried my action cam and it didn't work with that. So it's like 3 different codecs it didn't work with, plus it didn't work with the OBS recorded stuff. I was like, oh well, it gets the fleek.
What's Lightworks? Is that a video editor or something, is it?
Yeah.
Lightworks. Yeah.
It's a professional video editor that supports Linux.
Oh. I haven't heard of that one.
Is there like a big learning curve with it?
Yeah.
Okay.
It sort of just looks like Premiere, really.
You could have hesitated, a little bit and said maybe.
Oh. Well.
Jeez.
Maybe. Better?
Okay, that's better.
Actually, Lightworks 14 recently came out within a couple months ago. and it is way better learning curve. Like they've reduced it a lot. The previous versions were stupid. They had, hey, what kind of working flow would you like a video editor have? You know, like the regular video editor workflow that everything has, or would you like to have an individual desktop inside of your workflow of the video editor? You have to make different panels and move everything individually and manually every single time. That's what Lightworks used to be. Then they were like, hey, you know, we've heard thousands of people say that's stupid for years. Could you give us an editor that looks like an editor? And they're like, yeah, we're going to do that now. So that's what 14 is. So that's why it used to be incredibly awful learning barrier. Now it's fine. Like, well, not fine. If you've ever used an editor before, it's fine. But
I actually picked up a copy of Magic Video Editor Pro, which was really good on Windows for $22 ages ago. But the problem is it's one of these programs that apparently needs to install stuff in the background on Windows. So it installs 2 services and a driver. And I only found that out after buying it. And then if you want 4K support, you have to buy a new version. So I was like, well, I'm not really keen on the bloat. But the interesting thing is Sony then bought it and then sold it. And now another company has bought it and they're getting rid of some of the bloat.
Well, I guess that's
nice.
Good. Well, as far as you asked earlier about the Blackmagic Resolve, I have a principle that I don't use stuff packaged for my operating system that was packaged by someone who has absolutely no idea what they're doing. You know, if it was a dev file, okay. It doesn't have a repo, unfortunate, doesn't work adapt. Okay. But I'll the dev, at least it's got that part of it. But, or like an app image. That's cool too. I do that. But if it's an SH script, shell script file that I have to install embedded, you know, obfuscated binary code. No.
Well, I just found all the Blackmagic capture cards over the years of like, because I've been fixing computers for like 15 years on Windows. Every single Blackmagic card does not work properly, even on Windows. And like, even Pinnacle finally got all that stuff working years ago, and that's probably 15, 20 years ago. But I've had multiple people contact me, and they're like, should I get Blackmagic? And I'm like, no. I'll like find something else, like even be Ava Media or Home Page or something else, because like for some reason Blackmagic hardware always has some finicky issue, even on Windows, and good luck getting it on Linux, where Magwell stuff apparently works awesome on Linux.
Yeah, I'm actually looking into that one. It's so expensive though.
Yeah, well, I think it comes back to what you were saying. You know, do you want to support open source on that, or something on the OS, where it's $200 American versus like $150 card, but at least it works out of the box on Linux.
150, 200, totally fine with that. 150, 350, kind of a problem.
Okay, I'll send you a link where you can actually get the Magwell card for 115 American.
Do it now.
But to get the link, you have to play War Thunder.
Do I have to say it or play it? What? Which one?
You have to play it.
Is it a freemium game or a pro game?
It's a free game.
Then we're done. Sold.
Now comes the bidding for how many hours you have to play it.
We already made a deal. We're not increasing it. The only way we increase the stipulation is that he has to put Hannah Montana on his computer.
Okay, I'll do a review for it.
Well, I've still only seen the one review so far. Ryan's the only guy who's done it.
I'm working on it.
I'm also working on it, and I'm a person who likes to be overly experienced on stuff when I talk about it. It's kind of funny. Ryan in his video like called me out and said I was going to be super serious about it and like be like a full like technical review and stuff. It's like, you know me too well, and that scares me. So I'm probably going to go more than he expected, but because I actually got it on hardware, and they're like, haha, see? And I don't know. It's going to be a little bit more technical, but at the same time, I'm also going to acknowledge that it is terrible.
Well, now you've said the CD works, I might give it another bash and see how it goes.
It works depending on the hardware you put it on. I put it on one that wasn't as old, and it didn't work very well.
So it's not going to work on a Skylake?
Probably not. It might. I mean, give it a shot if you want.
Hey,
I will do, yeah.
I got a ThinkPad sitting over here. Maybe it will work on, huh?
Depending on the ThinkPad, it's possible. Like, I did it on a Dell Enterprise thing for, like, super ancient one. I was like, I'm going to give it a shot. And why not? And it doesn't work well, but it boots, so there you go.
It boots. Okay, gee, that's great.
Yeah. So, Rocco, while you were gone, we was actually taking you to task on the fact that you're not distro hopping anymore.
What do you mean I'm not distro hopping? I'm on Manjaro Gnome right now.
Yeah, but when was the last time you hopped?
Yesterday, last night, 3:30 in the morning.
No.
Before that.
Let's not obfuscate here. Yeah, before last night.
Actually, Solus. I installed Solus. When I don't know, 2 weeks ago.
Weeks ago.
It might have been 2 or 3 weeks ago, and before that it was the Gnome. Yeah, you're right. I have done less hopping, but I don't know why.
Twice a week. Come on, let's get back on track.
You know what I have a real problem with is not that I'm not distro hopping, is that I don't have the time to make the videos about them when I'm hopping. That's the problem. Mm-hmm. So
you gotta pick which one is the better option.
Yeah, but I'm too busy, doing Friday Night Lives and editing Destination Linux and making the next show for Destination Linux to make the videos for my channel. So I gotta pick and choose because there's only so much time.
You gotta set priorities. So obviously the best choice is to keep hopping.
Well, and that's also one of the reasons why I'm not hopping as much as I used to, is because of Destination Linux. I can't afford to hop and have something break and then screw up this week's episode because, hey, I decided to hop to a new distro and it's just not working right now. So
that would be incredibly difficult, I would say.
Yeah, especially when you set up interviews with people and, you have to be, you can't just set up interviews and say, oh, yeah, by the way, I screwed up your interview time because, I installed such and such last night and it's not working out. So that has caused me to hop a little bit less lately, too.
Maybe you need a separate PC just to distro hop.
Well, the problem is I enjoy hopping on my main system where I have all of my files.
The spare system needs to be like the capture interview PC then.
Yeah, pretty much. I need a spare system to do that. Yeah, you're right. Good idea.
I'm actually building another system. I got off a guy in Sydney. He sent up some components, and I'm going to make a Windows 7 box to do streaming and like capturing and stuff, because I got a HDMI capture card for free off a subscriber, but it only works in Windows 7. It doesn't work in Linux.
Right.
So it's going to be a headless box that I can do everything and then just transfer across the files and edit it on my normal PC.
Yeah, that's a good idea, is to have a separate thing for recording.
Mm-hmm. I try to do that as well. I'm creating like this thing that I'm going to put into So I make a video about it too, because content is important. And eventually, those claims of making videos will happen.
Eventually.
Yes. We'll see. So what my purpose is making this taking my desktop and making it dual bootable without dealing with partitions of any kind, and being able to easily replace what it's being dual booted with. So like my main machine is always stable for one distro. And then the other one is a ton of different, like I can switch it out anytime I want. But then I can use the other drive to have all my files available. So like I can mount it after the fact.
Yeah, but the problem with that, like I have, like just say login logo, your login account picture and stuff is in your documents, which would need to be mounted at when you log in or when you boot up in order for this stuff to show.
Trying to make everything. No, I mean saying like my files for work and like all my documents and stuff like that would be mounted and like accessible, but the rest of it wouldn't be. Like,
yeah.
The default stuff of like my account photo and stuff like that would be separate for sure, and the theming would probably be separate too.
Could you set up like a roaming profile network mounted thing?
You could.
Yeah, so like instead of like videos and documents on your hard drive, just have it on a networkable drive, so you can just reinstall and point it back to that drive.
You could do that as far as you like wanted to store all your files like a NAS or something, but like what I just thought of is ridiculous, and I might make a video about it.
Yeah, but I was actually thinking of extending it to a roaming profile, so you could go to another PC and it would pull down everything again.
Yeah. I'm taking that a step further and using Git to store all my settings for all of the applications and everything I want, and then I just do a Git pull, and then bam, everything's good.
Yeah.
You just symlink everything to the main things, so that your Git is always like the latest version of every time, and you can have like versioning stuff if you accidentally mess up something. Yeah. That's not ridiculous.
Write that down so you don't forget the video idea.
I'll just come back to the show and watch. Like I said, one point in this video, I said, like, what did I say?
I was gonna do this.
I think something about I'm gonna make something on every episode.
Sounds interesting.
And then the next episode I'm gonna make something.
I think that's about it for the stream. So everybody gets their last word. Zeb.
Peppermint OS rocks.
We knew that was going to happen. Colin?
Hopping again today.
Hopping to what?
I don't know yet. I want to, well, I've got to put my Solus back on here. I don't know whether I want to go for GNOME or Budgie.
Go with
GNOME. Go, mate. Go, mate. Mate Master Race.
Well, actually, I'm using Mate on another computer. I was running App Image Etcher, and it wouldn't open. I don't know why. On Solus Mate, it doesn't open. It doesn't start.
Have a look at Xebian, Xebian. You can Google Reba Linux, and they've got a review on Xebian, Xebian.
Okay.
And that works really, really well.
Okay.
Interesting.
Xebian.
Xebian, yeah.
I'll try anything once, to be honest.
We know that, or multiple times.
Try to get it if it's good.
All right, Charlie, last word.
Thanks for having me on. It's been great.
Dig it. Michael, last word.
Peppermint vodka rocks. On the
Peppermint vodka rocks. Okay. All
or
right.
more importantly, tuxdigital.com. Rocket League.
That's 2 last words. That's unacceptable.
Technically, this is my 5th.
Yeah. Okay. So thanks for joining, everybody. It was another fun chat. So we'll see you next time.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks, guys.
See you later,
Bye-bye.
guys. Bye.
Yep. Good times.